Tweet it out. Here we go. Hold on. We got to do one other thing first. We're already live. I know that, but let's pretend. Let's restart now. All right. Here we go. Pretend like we're restarting.
Cool.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Preparation Ape, your number one place for DKP and Major Tom, and also that strange feel when your wife leaves her titty in here. You know,
I hate when that happens.
It's like, how can you just leave something like this behind? It's very strange. Yes, but tonight is a very special episode. You see, the Red Hulk meets the Green Hulk, and they find out. No, why don't you go? What do we have on the Residox tonight, Major Tom?
It's the Uncharted week, so I'll be discussing my impressions of Uncharted 4, which came out on Tuesday. We'll be talking about some Disney Infinity stuff, because Disney Infinity was recently axed.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about some Pokemans. And we're going to be doing a couple of special things for our 500 followers. We finally hit 500 followers. Yay! So we're going to be doing a couple of special things.
Huzzah!
So, yeah.
So yes, we'll let us continue. This is, of course, an Ape's End. Not to be confused with the end of ChainsawApe.
Nope.
That comes
We're
next
here forever.
Week. Well, I guess we'll talk about that in a moment.
I guess so.
So let's get fucking right along, start moving here.
Let's do it!
Uncharted 4. So, you, being the nice fellow you are, brought this over to me today.
Yep.
So I can play it later, but what are your impressions? You've beaten it.
I have, yeah. I played for about 2 hours on Monday night, like right when it came out at 11.
Mm-hmm.
And then I woke up Tuesday morning, played pretty much all day. I mean, the kid stayed home because he was running a fever, so I had to do some daddy stuff here and there.
Right.
But pretty much
Like
the
what?
entire day.
What do you
Just spend time with him when he gets fussy, take care of him, help with the diaper changes, the fatherly duties.
You only do that when he has a fever?
Watch some Doc McStuffins. No, but specifically stuff tied to him being home.
Doc McStuffins, is that like a...
It's a kid's cartoon.
Sounds like a porno name.
Yeah. It's about this really, really bitchy little girl who talks to toys and fixes them like a doctor. And she's always like, make sure you drink water and stay hydrated.
McStuffins.
Doc McStuffins. Sounds like a porno about
that
McDonald's.
Is a porno name. So, let's see. Adify says, do this, Monkey Man. I really wish I could skip ads. I really wish we fucking got paid for ads.
The doc is in.
You do that shit on YouTube.
And she'll fix you up, says 8-Bit Abs.
We already fucking paid for Twitch Turbo, which we don't really get shit for except for longer archives.
Yeah, which is worth it, though. Longer archives.
Yeah, but it's like Anyways.
Yeah.
I digress.
8-Bit Abs making them
the doc is in, she'll
full.
fix you up.
That's the theme song.
What is it?
The doc is in and she'll fix you up. That's in the theme song. Oh. I know every word to that song. And I'm assuming 8-Bit Abs does
fucking
as well,
tragedy, I'm sorry.
Having a little kid.
So, Uncharted 4.
Is that the guy from Sons of Anarchy? No, that is actually...
Boyd Crowder?
That is Nathan Drake's brother, Sam Drake. He's a big part of the story. So, Uncharted 4...
Looks like a greasy motherfucker.
We'll just get it out of the way. Fucking amazing. Potentially my favorite Uncharted game.
Yeah?
Yeah. I kind of have an internal struggle between that and 2 because of the innovations that 2 was able to pull off, things like epic moments that we talked about last episode.
Right.
One of the things that I really, really, really love about this game, since it is, it's PlayStation 4, it's a lot bigger. And I don't just mean like scope or scale, but I mean the way that the levels are designed. It's a lot less straightforward. Like a lot of the other ones, you just kind of go down a singular path or you climb a particular type of mountain. But now...
It's not open world.
But it's not open world.
Is it just
but it's a little bit bigger.
So you can take multiple paths. It's less linear, I guess.
Significantly less linear. Okay. So one of the things we talked about last week was one of the moments in Uncharted 2 when you're riding in the back of a Jeep and you're mowing fools down.
Sure.
And you're like, holy shit, I'm going to see if I can jump to this other Jeep that's driving. Mm-hmm. So you're just like, I'll try. And you do it, and then it works. And you land in the other Jeep. So there's this moment of like intuition that you have of like, let me try this and see if this works. That entire, like, Uncharted 4 is entirely based around this idea of having intuition and going, should I go this way? I think I'll go this way. And then it ends up being the right way.
So you could say that it's like big open world, I'm sorry. Like cinematic set pieces that are pre-scripted, but the way that the game kind of subtly nudges you to do what it wants feels as though it's not just a scripted sequence.
Yeah, exactly. I'm constantly feeling like I'm the one who made the decision to go in this direction. or take this jump, or like I could probably get there a different way, but I'm going to jump directly, over this cliff to get to this.
Okay.
And they add a lot of little nuance through things like there's a rope that you have, so you can
grappling
attach,
hook, I think, was the new.
So you can attach to different poles or trees or something hanging out, and it kind of adds a lot of layers to the combat. Like you can swing and then shoot while you're swinging, and
okay.
But yeah.
So let's go down it really quickly. Graphically, what'd you give it? You don't have to score it, but
if I was to score it, it'd be a 10. It's
really
probably the prettiest console game. Maybe the prettiest game I've ever played. There are so many moments where you just like stop and look around. You're just like, there's actually a counter at the end of the game that says how long you were standing still. Like you can go to your statistics.
And
I was standing still for, I guess, but I was standing still for over an hour. And I wasn't like, I'm going to just stand here and go grab something to drink or something like that. Like, just standing there for over an hour throughout the 13 hours.
Just surveying the landscape.
Yeah. The story is really, really good. You could tell they learned a lot from The Last of Us as far as like you progressing through the game with someone and you having conversations. It's also significantly more mature. So
really,
yeah.
So because the other ones had like kind of Indiana Jones like very goofy, lighthearted fun,
and
but also extreme brutal murder.
Yeah. There are moments like that, but it's a lot more. So if you've seen any of the trailers or any of the stuff, like there's one particular part in one of the trailers where you go on this epic adventure and you do a bunch of stuff, blow a bunch of stuff up, and then you're talking to Sam and Sullivan or Sully about treasure, and you're like, oh, here's where the treasure is, and you walk into your hotel room or motel room, and your wife is standing there, and she's like, hey, it looks like you're off course from the Malaysia job. So it's clear that that Drake was lying to his wife, Elena.
Right.
And that whole story is extremely good. Like,
well, as far as it being more mature, as you put it.
Yeah, it's him. It's a lot of the stuff about like decisions that he's made, and is he making the right decision? And he's kind of coming out of retirement. He's like moved on and got a different job now, and you get to kind of play parts.
But you don't get to make any decisions yourself, do you?
So that is something they added. They added dialogue trees, but there's only like there's only maybe 5 of them in the game.
Do they significantly change anything?
And they changed nothing.
Okay.
It's literally like, and we saw it at PSX, the scene where you see your brother for the first time in so many years.
Oh, you know
and
what?
He's like, so what have you been up to? And then you get to choose if you want to tell him about the events of the first one, the second one, or the third game. It's little events like that. Like, it's small little things where you get to say...
So nothing major, just add your own little flavor to it. Like, if I'm sure you probably told them about the events of the second game, since that's your favorite.
Yep.
All right, fair enough.
Still haven't finished Uncharted 4, but it's the perfect combo of summer blockbuster and Netflix binge watching. Just and one more chapter.
Says, I'm telling you, when PS 4.5 comes out, first series, it's on his list.
Cool. If you haven't played 1, 2, and 3, definitely play 1, 2, and 3. It's like it is the finale. So they spend a lot of time like paying homage or calling back to a lot of moments in all the previous Uncharted games.
A little bit of advice though for the first one: put the combat just on easy.
Oh yeah, I would do that. I would do that on the first 3, honestly, just so you can get to the 4th one.
Yeah, like because this leads into my next question. Mm-hmm. What was the balance of shooting and exploration like? Because just to preface that question, that's the only thing that I kind of didn't like about the first 3. Mm-hmm. It's a necessary part of the game, and I understand that, but it felt to me like every time I was doing the shooting sections, it was only just so I could get to the next fun exploration section.
There are fewer shooting sections in this one than there are in other ones, but there are still moments like that. Like there's a moment in Madagascar when you're going through all these different towers, and every single tower that you touch or every tower that you go to, there's like a little group of enemies you have to fight, and you do that like 4 or 5 times in that one mission. Okay. So there is still quite a bit of fighting.
But a better balance maybe this time?
I would say there is a better balance, but I can say that like about halfway through the game, I was tired of climbing. Really? So there may be a better balance to it, but the climbing, there are times where it kind of it's just like, really? Like I have to do more climbing? There are fewer epic moments, like set piece moments, like the one from the trailer where you're chasing a group of cars and there's like you're on a motorcycle with Sam. Like there's a whole part.
Does it have that part where the controller dies?
No. That part.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the live demo at PSX, which was fantastic. They were doing like a live gameplay demo.
No, I think that was at E3.
Was it at E3?
Sorry.
Well, regardless of where. They're like, and now it goes straight from cinematic to gameplay, and the fucking controller died, so the guy just sat there. And they're like, we need to go ahead and restart. One of the most... Seeing people... Watching... This is one thing real quick, as a brief aside. Seeing that E3 is kind of going away now, it's a real fucking bummer because...
I mean, it goes away. It comes and goes. It has its moments.
It really feels like people are pulling out. They're finding it less important.
For sure.
But, so the fewer presentations... My favorite part of watching those were watching, like, just see how many fuck-ups there were, watching how awkward people were at them. Like, that was what made E3 fun to me. Minus the reveals, but...
I think we'll still have those, just fewer of them.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, alright, so as a final note, unless you got more on it, what would you score it?
I don't know. Something higher than a 9.5, but not a 10.
So it's not perfect, but
not perfect.
Damn near.
Yeah. And I don't really think any game is perfect, per se.
Yeah.
But it's...
Well, not everything's Max Payne.
It met my expectations in most areas, exceeded them in some, and didn't meet them in a couple. But... overall, I was very, very, very happy with it. And I could say, I talked about this, I'm trying to beat 52 games in a year.
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, thank you kindly. I was trying to beat this 52 games in a year thing, finish 52 games in a year. So, playing through a game more than once, like, I don't want to do it. It's like I'd rather spend this time playing something I haven't played or something I haven't finished yet, so I can work towards that goal. And it really, really stung to not immediately start Uncharted 4. Like
do it a second time?
Second, third, that's a game I want to get a platinum on. And I may eventually get the platinum. But the drive to do it was really, really strong when I finished. Like, I immediately wanted to
That's really weird. I cannot beat a game and then just fucking immediately restart it. Even if it has, like, a tremendous new game plus, I need to take, like, a little bit of a break.
There are a few games here and there that do it, but the last game that I actually did it for was Uncharted 2. And I played through it, and then the next day played through it, then the next day. Like, I got the platinum in, 3 days after the game came out, because I just kept playing through it.
Major Tom with the 9.6.
9.6, baby!
Apparently it also died at the COD demo at E3.
Yeah.
Fucking shocker. But
yeah, highly recommend it. If you haven't played an Uncharted game, definitely play 1, 2, and 3 first. You can get those in a collection on PS4.
So, this is the finale, and...
Yep. It definitely is the finale.
Much like Breaking Bad, it's like, isn't it fucking great? Because... It's how something ends is equally as important to how it got there.
Absolutely.
A good example would be Mass Effect 3. Like, many people hated the ending on that. And to me, that almost, cheapened the entire experience all the way up to it. Because I can't look back at it and be like, wow, that just was a fucking masterpiece, I always have that blemish. That's the first thing I think of when I think about that series was the disappointment of beating it. So when something... I
definitely did not agree. I don't agree with that stance, but, it makes sense.
But when something like Breaking Bad, which ended great, or this ends with no blemishes, it's a fucking relief, huh?
It is. And the last... I would say probably... There were a couple of times where I was playing where I was like, I'm kind of ready to just kind of move past this particular part or get close to the end. But the last 5 or 6 chapters, I was just so overwhelmingly obsessed with playing more. I probably had 6 chapters left at 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. I was like, I could pick this up tomorrow. And I was like, fuck it. I'll just keep going. And I just kept going, and I finished it at 3 in the morning. I just could not stop playing. But yeah, the end is really solid. There are a lot of surprises in the game, and I was very, very, very happy with it.
All right, well, sounds good. That's a couple of comments real quick before we move on.
Better call Diggle.
Let's see. Regarding playing something immediately over, Idify says that was Resident Evil 2 for him.
Cool.
And he asks, is it really the finale? You sure we aren't going to get a Better Call Uncharted? Or Better Call Sully? Better Call Diggler.
Do I think that we could get more Uncharted games? Yes. Do I think that Nathan Drake will be the star of those games? No.
Well,
take that as you will.
If they do it right, he dies at the end, but I don't know.
You'll find out.
I suppose I will. All right, so moving on to Battlefield 1 v Call of Duty.
War as heck.
So
we talked about this quite a bit in the last one about how popular the Battlefield 1 trailer was comparatively to the Call of Duty trailer. Well,
we had no idea exactly how far that was going to fucking
and this
go.
is kind of a quick story, just a quick little slide. I just thought it was a good follow-up from last week. In regards to the trailers that are on YouTube, both of them have broken records. So Battlefield 1 was the most liked trailer on YouTube. So of
is that
all the
most
trailers
ever?
of most liked
just trailers.
That's why that's important to note, because there are videos out there that have had more likes.
Right.
But it is the most liked trailer on YouTube.
And yeah, speaking of, Zarilla says, I sense bias. And if that's about Major Tom's association with Electronic Arts, no, this the proof is in the pure numbers on this one.
Yep. And yeah, so while you call it out, while you take some time to call it out,
you do have to say this.
I work for Electronic Arts, so anything that I talk about with Electronic Arts or their products or anything like that, please take with a grain of salt.
And it does not represent the opinions of Electronic Arts.
Yes, it definitely does not. But I can promise you that everything that I'm saying is coming from me, and it's sincere. But still,
we're just saying that
you don't
so
have to listen to anything I say about EA or their games or anything like that.
Now me!
Yeah, whatever the fuck this man wants to say, he's free to. I'd be way more into this if it was an actual NBC-style fighting game. That'd be badass. So, Battlefield and Call of Duty, they've been at odds with each other for quite a while.
Yeah.
Like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and then the Call of Duty Modern Warfare games and Black Ops, stuff like that. They were basically two sides of the same coin. They
mirrored each other quite a bit.
Yeah. Call of Duty was more arcadey, and Battlefield was more simulation, I guess, as far as war.
And it wasn't Arma, but yeah,
they're always after each other, so to speak. Or I guess Battlefield's kind of always after Call of Duty, because Call of Duty sells gangbusters. It is one of the most popular franchises ever.
One thing I will say about that, it doesn't look like Battlefield ever took, like, if they wanted to match Call of Duty sales, they could have really just copied more of the Call of Duty elements, but I haven't seen them really doing that. I feel like
they do with the campaigns.
With the campaigns,
with the multiplayer, it kind of takes a different route. Again, more of a simulation,
but who gives a shit about the campaigns in Battlefield? Like, I know a lot of people like the campaigns in Modern Warfare. Call of Duty.
I love the Call of Duty campaigns. Big fan of the Call of Duty campaigns. Anyway, so Battlefield 1, most liked trailer on YouTube. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, most disliked trailer on
Even
YouTube.
over the Ghostbusters trailer?
Yes,
because
more
dislikes
than the
that had the top spot for what, 2 weeks?
Yes, something like that.
Until this came out?
And then Infinite Warfare took it. Now, granted, I think that a lot of that is just like the whole Call of Duty versus Battlefield zeitgeist. Like, people are probably going in and liking the Battlefield trailer and disliking the Call of Duty trailer just to do it. Just to say, oh, look at this. Like, I do think that is a part of it, but I don't think that that's the majority of it. I do think it's...
Well, the weird thing is, and I'm kind of still pondering this. So, look...
Me too, Adifa.
So, look, I don't understand... Like, I know people... It blows my mind, is what I'm trying to say, is how Infinite Warfare got to being the most disliked. Like, what... I knew people didn't like it. People were like, oh, we don't want futuristic. But to this extent... I had no idea, and maybe it's coming from also the fact that they're the Modern Warfare debacle, like how, they're bundling it with that, but you can only get it. Maybe it's a combination of the both, but I could see, like, okay, well, this isn't what a lot of the fan base wants. But pushing it to this point of the most disliked trailer ever on YouTube,
if nothing else, they are sending a message to Activision. So.
Oh, duly noted.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, I know personally, I'm actually very excited for both of them. For different reasons. Multiplayer for Battlefield and single player for Call of Duty. But I'm hoping the Battlefield single player is really, really good because based on what the trailer shows, we see like the stuff that takes place in the desert. We see stuff that takes place in like Europe, and we just see like different landscapes. And I hope that they go the route, and I believe they will, but I can't say 100%, based on information that's out there. But it looks like that they're using different characters. Like it shows the girl riding the horse with the sword.
Wait. Do you remember, okay, this is one of the things, speaking of Call of Duty, and I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, I'm not a fan of the series, but there was a time when I was. And I remember when the first one came out, one of its big selling points was, it was in World War II, you played as somebody from each of the Allied forces.
Yeah.
So you played as somebody, for like a Russian, you played as like a British soldier, and as an American.
And that's what the trailer really fucking cool. Makes me think, is that those things are going to be happening.
Now, yeah, it's funny that if that is the case... Yeah, and it probably is because, they've kind of borrowed some aspects even in the earlier Battlefield campaigns for the last two. That's almost taking, like, what made Call of Duty great to begin with.
For sure.
That they've lost completely and kind of reincorporating that, which is pretty cool.
Electronic Aaron says some bandwagon effect of the liking, disliking. Yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely. Yep. Anything else on this?
No, I will say one last thing. I am very interested to see what Activision's response to this is going to be, though.
I mean, realistically,
it's not going to be them creating a new game. Like this is coming out, but have they said anything publicly about this? Like,
I don't think so, but I don't really think they need to. I mean,
I mean, what can you say, I guess?
Really, when it comes down to it, like, the video game, people who are in the video game, I don't know, kind of spectrum, who go on the internet and watch YouTube, and they go to, like, IGN or GameSpot, or go to R Gaming, or, like, watch content like what we have out there.
Yeah.
People who are involved in the gaming community, they're the ones who are going out there with this voice and liking and disliking things. The people that, literally millions and millions of people who...
Right. But no, I
buy these types of games.
Point, but this has brought them so much press of it being, like...
Yeah, but again, it's
news within
such
itself,
a small portion of, like, press.
It's fair enough.
How many people play Call of Duty games that have no idea that, Infinite Warfare even exists? I would say a massive amount of them.
So, I mean, if we're talking pure numbers, yeah.
Perfect timing.
Well, interesting, though.
Battlefield trailer made me jizz my pants.
I'm interested to see how this unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very happy. I think we'll be getting Battlefield 1, which I'm super stoked for, by the end of the year.
We're getting it in October.
Hell yeah.
October
All right.
13th.
Well, moving on to our next thing we got here, Deadass Creed, baby.
Deadass Creed.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play this.
So we don't talk about movies often. I mean, we do, but not as frequently as we talk about games. Obviously, we're a gaming channel. But I would say this is, pretty much video game.
I watched this earlier, and I'm not a fan of, like, the Assassin's Creed games, really, either. Which, by the way, that woman.
Yeah.
She's like Flo
I can't think of her name,
from the Progressive commercials. Like, I don't know if I find her really hot or not.
She's nothing like, dude. Flo from the Progressive commercials, not hot. She's hot.
I don't know, man. Like, there's plenty of times like
Flo
when I would, but sometimes I'm like, no.
I think that it's like Maria Collard or something like that. I can't think of her name. Anyway, but it does have Fassbender in it.
Yeah, who I really like as an actor, right? But like I said, I'm not a fan of this series. But basically, what this trailer what this trailer looks like to me. I don't. By the way, the soundtrack that they put in here.
I get it. Kanye is massive, and everybody loves Kanye.
It's like, are they going?
I'm not in that part that loves Kanye.
It was like, am I watching the Wolf of Wall Street trailer again? Is that what the fuck's happening?
What's actually really brilliant, I was on the interwebs today, and everyone is redoing the trailer with a different song, and every single one of those I saw was better. There's one that has like Assassin's Creed music. There's one that has music from one of the game trailers.
Nothing but fighting.
Yeah,
and that's to me like. And you said something about this earlier. You said, "Look, I appreciate that they're trying to make it more like the games because a lot of people's complaints about a lot of game movies are it's nothing like the game.
The fact that it is actually like this could be an Assassin's Creed game, and it's canon to the series, meaning that it does like tie in like events that happened in the games exist in the movies.
Okay,
this character and these events are all kind of run parallel to the things that are happening in the games. But it looks too much like the game.
Yeah.
And I know that's such a stupid thing to say because I've been begging video game movies to just basically copy stories from the games. Yeah. Resident Evil, please just copy the Resident Evil video game story.
That was the exact one that I think to every time.
Please copy it. And now that we are basically getting it, that looks like Assassin's Creed. The outfits, the parkour, even him, the eagle flying, the way he jumps off the building, it is exactly like the games.
But the thing,
and for some reason, that turns me off.
Thing is, it starts out okay. They're like, all right, here's how he gets introduced to the anima machine or whatever, right? And then after that, the entirety of the trailer is just like, hey, look, there's fighting in here. Hey, look, there's parkour. But it's like, but what the fuck's the point? Yeah. Now, from my understanding, a lot of the times in the games, you go back and they recover memories to find out secrets of, Templars and shit like that, right? Put some of that in there.
Yeah.
But the entirety of the rest of the trailer is just, look how much like the game it is. It's like, no, even the game trailers for the game are like, hey, look what you're uncovering, these secrets. They know how to sell that shit. So yeah, I don't know. Coming from this trailer, I don't really care at all, but it could change.
Cautiously optimistic.
But like I said,
it could be good. It could be really, really good, and it looks like a good movie, but it looks too much like.
It looks like a good movie, but it also for some reason it reminds me of this could have been directed by U-Bowl.
No,
Like, no, just
no. That's that.
No.
It looks the complete opposite of a U-Bowl movie. Like it looks.
No, it looks professional.
It has a budget,
but I mean, like it stuck to the source material, like too much, but not in the good way.
Yeah,
like it's like the House of the Dead. They put in splices of House of the Dead game clips. Like,
let's hit the comments real quick.
Yeah,
just to touch on the Call of Duty thing. Call of Duty games are like Madden football games. Yeah, one of those games that like everybody like. You're like, how did this game sell 12 million, 20 million copies? Because the people that buy them, that's what they they have a PS4 for Call of Duty. For
I mean, it's
that's
like,
basically it.
It's like FIFA, like
for sure.
Do you know anyone in real life that plays FIFA?
I do.
I mean,
I
like,
work at EA, so
right? But like, okay, well, let's say I don't, or very
let's
few.
Say I don't.
But that is like what the best-selling game ever, like
something
every
like
year, because like
yeah.
because here in the States, like soccer's not really a big thing, or I'm sorry, football, whatever. But dude, that game is massive.
The best-selling game in Europe
else.
every single year.
Yeah. It's insane.
Kanye says Idify. Being a huge fan, I'm really curious. Yeah, I'm a fan. I feel like they've kind of hit some, hit some challenges over the last few years, but most of the budget went to CG and fastest massive pee now. Amen. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You ain't got shit on Willem Dafoe.
Idify says I Am God. Great Kanye album.
Old Donda.
I got nothing on that.
Donda Incorporated produced this film, actually.
They did, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Fighting in some rad parkour. Yep.
That's about what you get. Which, very, shame we didn't actually have this in here. They released 4 clips from the new Warcraft movie today.
Yeah.
Those actually look way better than any of the trailers. Like, seeing it, like, as a scene that plays straight through.
Yeah, what's the deal with, like, video
really
game movies?
Fucking good. But the trailers
putting
look
some
awful.
effort in. Like, Ratchet and Clank, that was Ratchet and Clank.
By the way, did you know that fucking movie, like, failed, flopped big time?
Yeah. I watched it the weekend that it came out in the theater.
Was it not
There
good?
were, like, 3 people in it. I liked it, but it's like, it was a really good video game movie, but it just wasn't, I don't know. It was alright.
I thought it might, like,
I watched it with my niece and nephews, and they liked it.
I was thinking it might have captured, like, the Pixar crowd, the people that go to those.
And that's what I think a lot of people were expecting, and it's not of the caliber of a Pixar movie. It's fun.
Hopefully it doesn't dissuade other companies from trying shit like that.
For sure.
But probably will. Alright, so up next we got EA All the News.
So this is going to take me a while to get through. So
this there's been a lot of shit announced in the last
EA had an investors
2-3
meeting
weeks.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and from that investors meeting, a metric ton of gaming news came out of it. So again, just want to stress that I work there, so I'm not going to go too in depth on like my opinions on a lot of stuff, but they do not reflect EA at all. So,
which by the way, like you find out this shit when you read it online.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely. A lot of this shit I did not know until. I mean, granted, like we usually get an email the day of the investor call talking about a lot of that stuff, but outside of it.
So what was the first big piece?
That's the thing is it's all in a weird order. Got the pad here, got a bunch of different articles pulled up. So we're just gonna wing it. We're gonna play it by ear. This is probably gonna be a fucking mess, but we'll see. So Blake Jorgensen, he's a CFO for EA. He provided a lot of statements during the earnings call, and a lot of those statements have been recorded in gaming articles. So one from GameSpot, he says, this is in regards to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, having potential like next iterations very soon. So like an Xbox 1.5 or PS 4.5.
Yeah, so pretty much like confirming that to some degree.
Kind of. He says, in terms of mid-cycle upgrades, I can't predict. What I can tell you is what we've heard publicly from the console makers. They're realizing the compatibility issue across consoles is an important consumer issue. Compatibility issue across consoles.
Okay,
so,
that could mean a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be associated with, their ability to run, like trying to make sure that they're hitting all the Ps, hitting all the frames across all the consoles.
Right.
That could be something dealing with that. He mentioned specifically the Xbox One's backward compatibility support, which was introduced in November 2015.
Limited backwards compatibility support, but
yeah,
not the point, I suppose.
So he also talked about Sony's rumored Neo console. He said that's going to be an important part of what a mid-cycle hardware upgrade might look like if there is one. It removes a lot of the risk associated with what we've seen historically with consoles.
Regarding that, was there anything like that we didn't know already?
Not really. He says our business model is so much more diverse than it has been historically that the notion of a console cycle becomes somewhat irrelevant in our ability to generate strong earnings and cash flow.
Okay.
So he says, we'll be interested to see where Microsoft and Sony come out if they do something at E3 or sometime in the year to come. We're excited about the continued growth in the business and not afraid of a cycle change.
All right. So that's like almost with 100%. It was pretty much confirmed.
It's basically saying if they do it, we're ready for it.
All right.
So, next thing is talking about Star Wars Battlefront. So they basically confirmed Battlefront 2.
Okay.
Said
did he? Okay, well, yeah, you go on.
Said bigger and better worlds when he talked about Battlefront 2.
Bigger, better worlds.
He added that it will continue to use content it will make use of the content from the new movies. The Battlefront only had the original Star Wars trilogy.
That's actually good if they're increasing the map size.
Yeah,
because in Battlefront, like the maps were kind of small, and that was one thing that it kind of mirrors Battlefield, like right, like BF3. Some of the maps were just fucking gargantuan, and never have I had more satisfaction in a game than sniping somebody but having that bullet drop from like 2 miles away and seeing it go. And then hit and seeing like the.
There's still so many great GIFs on like Reddit.
So yeah, that'll be really cool to be able to introduce that.
This is also from GameSpot, by the way.
All right.
He says also during the call, Jorgensen said EA plans to release one new Star Wars game every year for the next 3 to 4 years.
Of different types, though, right?
Yeah. The Battlefront sequel will come out next year. He says it's unclear if they're referring to the calendar year or because the fiscal year just started. Yeah. So it could come out 2018. Like January, February, March. But my money would be on it's a holiday game because that seems like the type of thing, and especially with the Star Wars movies being in December, you want to put those things.
We're getting Battlefield 1 in October, and we're not going to get Battlefield whatever the next iteration of that is next year. So that to fill that gap of like the year, having it kind of holiday 2017 would make sense.
He also confirmed that the Star Wars action game from the Dead Space guys, Visceral, and Motive, which is the new studio that Jade Raymond is heading up. Jade Raymond was one of the executive producers.
Was she the one
creative directors for Assassin's Creed?
Was she?
She was the one at the Game Awards
who dropped David Hayter. It was like,
yeah, maybe
was that her? Because it was somebody high up at EA, and she was like, I don't know if it was a joke, but if anyone remembers this, she was like, and of course. What game would be complete without so-and-so? I mean, how could you have Metal Gear Solid without David Hayter? And it was right after Kiefer had gone up there.
Yep.
That was great.
And he also mentioned that Respawn, the guys who make Titanfall, are working on a Star Wars game.
All right. Identify says, hopefully they talked about Donda, did they?
They definitely talked about Donda.
Fuck yeah. Right,
so they also talked about the sales of Battlefront. So they projected that Battlefront would sell around 12 million copies, which that's a massive amount of copies.
Battlefront 2, you mean?
No, they talked about Battlefront and how well it sold. So they expected it to sell about 12 million.
Yeah.
It sold 14 million.
Wow.
So it exceeded expectations. Yeah, that's 14 million people. Like Battlefield.
Yeah, I don't know that many people that played Battlefront either.
Like 6-7 million, and then Battlefront sold 14 million copies.
It's fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was 13 million in January. So since January, another million copies have sold. That's really impressive.
Well, considering it's been out for this long, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty much all on that. Also, that more than 15% of the game's players were new to the EA ecosystem.
So a lot of people just bought it for Star Wars because it was Star Wars.
Yeah, well, they new to the EA ecosystem, meaning when you play an EA game, you have to log into an EA account.
Yeah.
So 15% of players who play Battlefront signed on for a new account.
Wow.
Yeah. They also said that Titanfall 2 is going to be launching before the end of 2016. This is also from GameSpot.
All right. So probably. Yep. So we could probably expect to see that at E3 then.
Yeah, for sure. Said keep in mind that EA also has Battlefield 1 coming out in October. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about getting Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2.
Yeah, that's not
within a couple of weeks from each other.
In my opinion, that's not a fucking good strategy.
We actually have another article where they respond to that. People mention
that.
Still on this topic, he said, giant category in our industry, $4.5 billion category. There's a very broad and diverse set of players who play games in that category who are looking to fulfill different gameplay motivations.
Sure.
Some people who play very quick play, or some people who like more strategic play. It said the result of that is that we feel like we actually have a really strong position to deliver the broad set of gameplay mechanics as it relates to first-person shooters.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, like, a lot of those are shared player bases, though. and let's just say, I don't know. You could probably find a statistic out there these days, right? For the amount of money or whatever, like the average person who is like a gaming enthusiast spends on games per month. But you're taking it from 60 to 120, and that's just for your 2 titles alone. I don't know. I understand their point by saying, like, well, it's likely that these people probably don't overlap too much. Why am I still holding this fake tit? But it's...
What's up, Dig Dog?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
I mean, also, to me, he's making perfect sense. I think that, there are different types of people. There are people who want... I would say if you had an Xbox One, like, there are probably people who bought Call of Duty and Titanfall, but those were basically very, very similar, especially Advanced Warfare, which at the time, like, it had the running on the walls, and it had the double jumps, and it had a lot of similar gameplay mechanics to Titanfall.
Idify says those Star Wars fans are rabid, which, that's the thing. It's not that, listen, I just want to make this real clear. It's not that Star Wars ain't going to do well. I'm worried that releasing at the same time, it's that Titanfall is not going to do well because people are busy with something else. I'm not worried about Star Wars.
Dig Dog says Churches did a song for this game. She's specifically talking about Mirror's Edge 2.
Okay.
Obviously referring to the artwork. It's like a electronic band. They're pretty solid.
All right.
So another piece of news. We only have 3 more.
Cool.
EA is set to release. This is IGN that I got this from, so it obviously is taking significantly longer to load. EA to release a new unannounced IP next year. According to GameSpot, EA CFO Blake Jorgensen said, "We do have a new IP coming next year. We haven't yet announced it, but it's something that you'll see probably coming up soon." So pretty exciting.
Yes, you'll see.
My guess would be
coming up soon.
My guess would be E3, or since they're not going to be at E3, EA Play, which is their big event.
All right, is that at the same time as E3?
It's a week before.
Week before. Okay.
So their big conference, their big press conference, is the Sunday before E3.
All right.
So that'll be the first press conference. We'll be streaming it, and we'll be doing live reactions.
Yeah, all of E3 will be plopped here, watching. We're
going to be
just
doing
like everyone else.
Predictions. We're going to be doing post analyses. We're going to be doing game of show. We're basically going to be doing coverage like any other
PCP. You gotta stay awake.
Yeah, we're going to be doing coverage just like any other gaming outlet would. Just the ChainsawApe version.
Sodomy, all sorts of other things, though.
So this one, NBA Live, new NBA Live, which we're not really sports guys, but NBA Live is not coming out this year. So they are going to be doing a mobile game, or we are going to be doing a mobile game, but they won't be releasing it this year. At least the console game. We won't see another one until 2017. So I think that's interesting. Obviously the
basketball game isn't coming out.
Well, the NBA 2K series is super, super popular. Like, does extremely well. Like 20 million.
Does it really?
Oh yeah.
You serious?
Oh yeah.
Once again, I don't know anybody who fucking plays that.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with that Call of Duty thing earlier. Is like, yeah, the internet is going crazy with all this stuff, but like, we're just such a small piece of the people who actually play video games. When's the meat and potatoes? I want to hear stories.
What's he talking about?
I don't know. Maybe he's talking about
context.
Prep 8 follow 500 followers.
Let us move on.
And then finally, the next Mass Effect will be at E3 this year. This is from IGN as well.
Cool. So we'll actually see probably some real shit from it this time.
Yep. Aaron Flynn, general manager. This is from IGN. Aaron Flynn, general manager of BioWare, confirmed that we won't be seeing Mass Effect Andromeda until 2017. We need the right amount of time to make sure we deliver everything the game can be and ship.
Delay it as long as it needs.
This confirms what Blake Jorgensen said back in March. Flynn says in the new game, players will be given an unprecedented level of freedom for a Mass Effect experience.
Okay.
It will be the first game built in the Frostbite engine. So, overall, I'm actually like, EA had a really good year last year, at least fiscal year, and I have a lot of hype for, what
between this and they are doing this year. Between this and Battlefield, and by this I mean Mass Effect, pretty fucking stoked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mirror's Edge is coming out. I never played the first one, so I think it'd be a good time to go back, play it, to get ready for this one. So
we should definitely do a Mirror's Edge stream. It comes out June 7th, so it's right around the corner.
Wow, that's very soon. Okay.
Delay if needed, take your time.
No shit.
Right. Take your time.
All right, well...
Anything else?
The RE is next, right?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we'll be getting to this here in just a little bit, but it's not the only company that's kind of introduced its plan for the next year or so. And pretty exciting news coming up as well. But up next, we have this.
Disney Infinity. So
yes. Which this speaks to a larger problem, but you go on first.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely talk about this for a minute because I have a lot of things to say on this. So Disney Infinity, I'm a big fan of the Toys to Life series, which if you don't know what Toys to Life are, it's the Skylanders, the Lego Dimensions, Disney Infinity, Amiibo. You put the toy on a pad or you scan it and it brings the character to life within the game. So
like Amiibo kinda.
Yeah. Well,
but not quite. The technology, I guess, is like Amiibo.
NFC chip technology where it scans it and then something happens in your game. So Disney Infinity, iDefy's a big fan of Infinity as well. Disney Infinity has been officially
Hopefully
canceled.
You got them all. That way you can say you own all of them.
Disney, although Disney Infinity was actually the best-selling Toys to Life game of the four,
Mm-hmm.
It did not make the money that Disney was hoping to make.
Dude, how many people got laid off due to this, too? Because that was a big game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably a couple hundred people lost their jobs.
Fuck.
So definitely good looking out to all you guys, and best of luck. You're all very talented, so I'm sure you shouldn't have too much difficulty. But, the first one covered, like, Pirates of the Caribbean and Lone Ranger and a bunch of, like, Pixar movies like Cars and Monsters, Inc. Second one was based on Marvel superheroes,
right?
So it tied in a lot to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then the third one, of course, had Star Wars. I was expecting this series to go on for a long time. As a fan of the game,
you said it was the best selling.
Yeah,
which like I would imagine that's a lot of fucking sales, especially because there's so many beloved IPs.
Absolutely
within this.
I would say the best IPs are coming from this. Granted, Lego Dimensions is doing something similar, but we'll definitely talk about Lego Dimensions because there's a connection or a prediction or something I have associated with this. At least they're going to be collectible now. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I plan to keep all these toys for as long as I can make them last. As soon as my kid is old enough to get his hands on them, I'm sure those little lightsabers will break right the fuck off. So I try to make them last as long as I can. But yeah, I mean, personally speaking, this is sad. This kind of sucks. From a collector's standpoint, I still have a couple more figures left to get. They are releasing Alice in Wonderland figures based on the Alice Through the Looking Glass movie that's coming out. And then they're also going to be releasing a Finding Dory playset, which, it's a bunch of fish toys.
Were those, I guess, like already in development, so they're just pushing them out? But
they're going to finish that out, and then they're done. Avalanche will be gone.
Yeah, this leads to my bigger question.
Yeah.
What the fuck does Disney have against video games?
The amount of money that you can make in them.
Right, but like, okay, so you know that recently, not recently, but when they acquired Marvel, right? Mm-hmm. They also, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they removed that from the Xbox Live Store. They made it to where they're no longer selling it. But it wasn't Marvel's, it wasn't due to Marvel at that point.
Yeah.
It was Disney that was like, no, we're not fucking doing it. Like, we're not allowing Capcom to make money off this, like, so they fucking pulled it.
Yeah.
Like, and now they're canceling this, like, it's really just like, what the fuck?
And, like, well, this may actually...
You're making plenty of money.
In regards to something like Marvel vs. Capcom, this may actually be a good sign, because what they did say was that we are done making games, but we will be licensing our intellectual properties out to other people. An example of this would be what EA has with Star Wars. So they have like a 10-year deal where EA will be making all the Star Wars games.
LucasArts stopped making games, but they...
So there was a licensing deal there. This also, I believe, is going to have huge ramifications for Lego Dimensions. Now that Lego Dimensions is no longer... Lego Dimensions is basically...
It's not just a regular Lego game, is it?
It's a regular Lego game mixed with Toys to Life. The plot of it is all these... There's portals that are opening up between all these different dimensions. So, like, a portal opens up, and they jump through it, and then they're in the Wizard of Oz world. Then they jump through one, and they're in the Portal video game world. They jump through it, and they're in Doctor Who. Jump through it, and they're in Ghostbusters. Stuff like that. So, you can now take all of those properties, Star Wars, Marvel, all the Disney characters. You can now do something with Lego Dimensions, which I think, like, has massive potential. You do a nice licensing deal with them, and then you have something.
Well, that was
even better.
On our podcast a long time ago, one of the questions was like, if you were heading Nintendo, how would you make more money? And it's like, partner with Lego. Like, that's such an obvious thing. So yeah, I could see how they'd still do that.
For sure.
Did a couple comments real quick. Let's see. Unkin says, I just picked up 3.0, so this was not happy news to me.
Well, at least you'll be able to get all the figures for it.
And if I said, I'm just pissed they never make Darkwing
Right?
Duck.
That's like the biggest.
Dig Dug agrees.
That's the biggest miss to me is that they didn't hit all their 90s cartoons. Like I would have loved to have gotten all the Duck stuff, the Darkwing Duck and the DuckTales. Gotten like Tailspin, stuff like that. Although we did get a Baloo figure.
J. Dig Dug says, but you also have to get up and move the pieces on the board.
I was not prepared for that level of
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
In LEGO Dimensions?
Yeah. Absolutely. The board's set up, and then it has like a couple of different areas.
So do you plug the board into something, or do you just
plug
go
it in
along
through
with
USB.
it? Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's the portal. But there's like a fight where you're fighting people, and then this part of the board will glow red, so you have to take them off and move them to this side.
How have I not seen this?
It's weird, and it's kind of...
I'm not sure I like it, but it sounds interesting.
I plan to do a LEGO Dimension stream one day with you, so maybe we'll do that.
Or we have to do a camera pointing down at the board.
Yeah, we'll have to get a second camera that's pointing to all the figures. But we'll figure something out.
We can work that.
Yeah. I've seen other Twitch streamers do it, so I'm confident we can figure that out. But yeah, I'm really sad about it, but it gives me hope for what Nintendo is going to be doing. I'm sorry, not Nintendo. Disney's going to be doing with their licensing.
Luckily, I haven't gotten invested in any of this shit, so I'm not sad about it. But I understand because I was there for Silent Hill's cancellation. Among, I don't know, all of my favorite IPs which were at Konami.
That wound is still super deep.
Oh, it certainly fucking is.
Yeah. Anything else on this?
Not for me.
Cool. Let's move on.
All right.
Pokemon! Is that a clown seal, bro?
Yeah, what the fuck is that? It's like
That's
Mr. Mind Fuck Dugong.
Poplito? Poppolito?
Poppolito. What the fuck are they doing with the names now?
I don't. That cat's name is Litten? Like,
normally, it used to kind of go like, the name would allude to what it is.
Yeah.
We just like picking Latin words out of the fucking book now.
So they finally showed off footage to the game, and I was contemplating putting a trailer in here. But if you saw Pokemon X and Y, or you saw Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, then you've seen what these games are.
No, this isn't talking shit about the games.
Finally, a fire cat.
But it's like, if you've seen one recently, like, you've kind of seen them all. It's not pushing it too forward. Yeah. Now, the games are still great. I'm certain of that. But there's no need to show a trailer for it. Especially the one that we did see. It was about a kid moving to, I guess, America. A Japanese kid moving to America and feeling a little awkward and weird because he didn't fit in. Yeah. And then he got Pokemon and he saw the people playing it, so he ran over there and I don't know. It was goofy, but
chat.
I guess that's a selling point.
The ape community seems to be happy about it. Is that an owl sloth? Can't wait to use Litten. Finally, a fire cat. I'm way okay with that. It is Litten, like lit fire. Oh my god, looks so good. I think it looks better than Omega. And an owl with a bow tie.
Which, funny enough, like if you rip that off, it took his bow tie, he'd probably start bleeding.
That
not quite a bow tie.
What should we call it? So I mean, I'm as hyped as I am for any Pokemon game.
How much exactly? Because you don't play them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've played a few here and there, but like
I'm excited that they're coming out. I won't be participating, but I
like
the fact that they exist.
I'm very, very happy for our Pokemon friends and fans out there.
Like, look, there's one thing you can say: it's the games are good.
Yeah,
like whether they innovate, maybe not all the time, but they're solid games.
That's
like what
that's actually something I wanted to mention is when the hype train for Pokemon really hits me hard is if NX is in fact a handheld console hybrid. Being able to play this as a console game,
I would be more inclined to play it as VR in VR. Like, imagine walking around like the forest, or whatever. You throw the ball, you point to whatever. That could be cool.
Well, that's what that.
It wouldn't even have to be super realistic.
That's what that Pokemon
graphics,
Go's all about. That's the future,
that's
baby.
Like mobile stuff.
That Pokemon Go in VR.
Talking like VR, but yeah. Let's see. I have a Pokemon date with the KPs.
I think it's odd. Only the grass type is a dual type.
What? Dual type?
I don't. That's
please.
Everyone in this chat that plays Pokemon games absolutely knows what he's talking about.
I mean, I play them.
To me, dual type means they have multiple abilities. And the grass one, which is the owl, has.
Oh, okay. I guess it's like a hybrid type of like grass and flying, maybe.
I don't.
Who fucking knows? I'm sure Uncle
will absolutely be explaining it. Anything else on this?
Not really.
Happy for you guys.
I wish it all the best, I guess.
Hope it's successful for
I'll probably pick
Nintendo.
it up, try it out.
Although if I do play it, I'm definitely playing as that clown sea lion thing.
But I'm going as the fire cat. That's what's going to happen, man. But, all right. Well, let's... okay, hold on before we move on. We got our answer.
The owl is grass and flying. The cat is just fire. The seal is just water.
And the types may change as they evolve.
Yep.
Now, that pissed me off. It was like, what if... It's not important. I could see that being problematic as the pleb when it comes to that sort of thing. Not planning ahead Pokemon user that I am. Now this, though...
20th anniversary of Resident Evil. I'll set us up and then I'll let you loose.
All right.
20th anniversary of Resident Evil. So, Resident Evil, there are rumors galore that a new Resident Evil game will be coming out this year. Capcom has even said...
Yeah, it's called Umbrella Corps.
No. Capcom has even said...
well, I think
something along the lines of the second half of this calendar year.
They're going all out offensive, or they're
going on all out offensive for something related to Resident Evil, which could mean one of two things to me: a sequel, Resident Evil 7, or the long rumored, long speculated reboot.
No, reboot of what?
Resident Evil.
Okay,
start over.
But we also have the confirmed. We do it, remember?
Yep.
Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yep. Which, if that comes out this year, that's too soon.
I don't think it's.
They haven't even worked on it.
I can see it maybe next year, maybe like first half of next year. But no, earlier when I said we went over about EA and all their news they gave this week, which is a bunch, kind of detailing their plan for the next little while. Capcom kind of alluded to the same thing, didn't give nearly as many kind of concrete details. But
I'm going to attempt to pull up that NeoGAF thread.
All right. Let's see. Aren't they releasing all the games again for the next-gen consoles? I do not know if they're releasing all of them. That would be fucking great,
6 came out last month. 5 comes out, I believe, next month. And then 4 comes out in the fall.
They do need to release, like, a trilogy of 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But, alright, so listen. In my opinion, if they're smart, this is how they'll do it. Now, I'm pretty, and I don't think they're going to go this way, just due to some of the things that have been said publicly by them, right? Which is, alright, so it's confirmed we're getting a Resident Evil 2 remake, right?
Yeah.
That's 100% confirmed. Now, whether or not it actually makes it all the way to completion, that's different, right? Because I could totally see it being dead in the water eventually.
They have to do it. Especially well as 1 and 0. So
fucking Konami had to deliver Silent Hills, right?
No.
Because... Well, no, like, that's how it felt, because they announced it was the huge monumental team partnership, but they didn't.
Konami in 2015 had so much negative press and news going on that them constantly talking about pachinko machines and how much more successful mobile business is and all these different things. Right. So it was kind of,
but look,
it was in the tea leaves.
Then let's do this. Let's assume that it is coming out. Like, what I'm saying is, just because they announced it, it doesn't mean, like, eventually... You remember what happened to Mega Man Legends 3?
Yep.
Like, they could can it, but let's go on the assumption they're not gonna, right? We're gonna get a remake of 2. So, I think they should reboot the franchise. And that should come out before the remake of 2, since they've already been working on it, right? So people can play 1, or whatever the reboot of it is, right? And then it goes straight into the remake of 2, which they tie in. They could tie in.
If it's a reboot, I don't want it to be like we already have a remake.
Right. But listen, well, look, 2 stands alone on its own, right? Even if you didn't play the first one.
Yeah.
Because as far as you know, it's you 2 different characters, the city.
You can reboot the game and it not necessarily have the same, like...
So you're saying they could reboot it without Raccoon City,
it could not have Raccoon
Umbrella.
City. It could not have Umbrella. There are things that I agree are kind of the lifeblood or the bones of a Resident Evil game, but you could absolutely reboot it without it.
Raccoon City.
That's what I'm saying.
In my opinion.
That's exactly what I just said, is that those are the bones or the lifeblood of the series, but you could do it without them.
I mean, you could, but...
And a reboot could.
Why would you? But, alright, so like I said, that's what I would like to see, is them rebooting it and tying it straight into 2. That way you would also have them in not close succession, but like maybe 6 months apart.
Yeah.
What say you?
I'm still looking this up. I can't find it, so continue on.
Alright. Let's see. Mr. Curtin says, I spent $30 on REQ packs in Halo 5. I want that armor. Please, elaborate. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. But no, so yeah, we have 2 huge games coming out. Now they won't say with 100% certainty, like, what they're doing with 7. Now, there's speculation that we'll see it revealed at E3. next month, which would be tremendous because basically at this point, for me at least, I just want to know what to expect from 7. Because they've said, like, okay, well, look, we understand what went wrong with 6, why it didn't sell. We know what, quote-unquote, the core audience wants. We need to put survival horror first and foremost. Now, whether they're going to do that or not, I mean, that's kind of the real question, right? And very excited for next month for them to finally kind of maybe get a trailer for that.
I totally.
It's been what 4 years since 6 came out.
It was 2000.
We're overdue for one.
So 2012 maybe. Yeah, I agree. Hate to burst my own bubble here, but I cannot find this fucking.
That's fine.
But it basically like it counted every single thing that anyone has on Resident Evil, the next Resident Evil game, which is like outlined.
Nothing concrete.
Capcom saying, but all this was concrete. All this was facts.
But a lot of it's like speculation for what type of game and what it's going to be. But yeah. But sorry, go on.
But it was a lot of it was facts. It was things like them saying, yes, we're working on the next Resident Evil. Yes, we've been listening to people about the problems that we had with Resident Evil 6. We've moved people from Project A to this particular project. So they are for sure working on it. They said that, they also talked about how they wanted Resident Evil games to be on a 2-year cycle, and we're currently at 4 years, so obviously that didn't pan out.
Well, they said that back at 6. So, but one thing they did point out in that article as well, every, like, major iteration of Resident Evil, so this goes 1, 2, not 3, 4 in Code Veronica, all got started with a development cycle. And it's safe to assume that at the end of 6, like when we got 6, they had already started on what would be Resident Evil 7, right? But all the ones that I just mentioned did eventually kind of notice that they lost direction of where they thought they should be, scrapped it entirely, and then remade something new.
For sure.
So it's more than likely that's what happened with this one as well.
Yeah.
Which yeah.
I definitely, if it's 7 or a reboot, I definitely want a reboot. I definitely want it to be more horror-themed or horror-focused. Yep. I don't want tank controls. Sorry, bro.
Look,
it's 2016.
It's the same thing with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, look, I love turn-based combat, and I love tank controls, and not even tank controls, the fixed camera angles, right?
Yeah.
But I understand, like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Which, that's fine.
You gotta have those modern sensibilities.
But I don't want Leon running from a fucking helicopter, scraping the ground, and then diving into. I don't want that either.
I don't think we'll get that.
But let's see. Let's hit a couple comments real quick. That's like remaking Mario without pipes. Hey, you have to have at least like Umbrella. Maybe they may not have to have Raccoon City, but Umbrella at least has to be there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Microtransactions to unlock the Wrath Armor set. And let's see. Did they understand what went wrong with Revelations? And then Idify says no co-op.
I completely agree with that. No co-op.
Actually, I do agree.
Co-op games are incredible. I absolutely love the co-op games. But that absolutely takes away from the tension.
Listen, or you can do it this way. Speaking of Halo, I guess, right? You can play Halo by yourself. It works fully 100% as a one-player game. Just add in the ability to throw the second player in there. Don't even include them in cutscenes.
Nope. No, that would be even worse. If there's any type of co-op whatsoever, then it needs to not be co-op.
What do you mean?
It would need to be like somebody can hop into your game and play as a random zombie.
Okay.
Like something like that. But give you an example. Dead Space. Dead Space 1, like super horror focused. Tension was really high.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Well, but you're going to move up to Dead Space 3, which and they added co-op.
They added co-op, and it was not a horror game.
Right, but
it had the same type of sensibilities about it.
It didn't though. Like
it did.
In Dead Space 3, you were fighting more humans than you were monsters, which is like
no, you weren't.
There were a bunch. Right? Point whatever. But it's like they changed it in more ways than just adding co-op.
For sure. But I can say that when I played that game cooperatively, there was no sense of tension.
All right, fair
None whatsoever.
Well,
and I think co-op, and even like Resident Evil 5, there was no sense of tension. That is an amazing cooperative game, a great action game.
But yeah,
it's an amazing game. But there is no tension.
It's not the quintessential Resident Evil
that is
experience.
You're right. It's an action Resident Evil game.
Well,
Go back to the
so yeah, no co-op.
Zombies.
Actually, I think we all agree on that.
Yep.
And the one thing I'll say, like I played through Revelations both, and we just finished up Revelations 2 on stream about 2 weeks ago. One thing that I just feel about that series, Revelations specifically, is it just feels cheap.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like a real fully budgeted Resident Evil game.
No, that's probably because it's not.
Yeah. Well,
it's supposed to feel like a kind of a side story, a B story. That's the B team.
Let's see. 8-Bit Ab says, players hopping into your game as zombies would be cool, especially if they appear as Crimson Heads.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Imagine that fucking mechanic, where you kill zombies and, like, if there's a... if you're... Like, you're trying to invade or whatever, you're in the lobby, and just, it's available in someone's game to where a Crimson Head is about to respawn, it'll pop you in there.
Yeah.
That'll be fucking tremendous.
So, one of the things... Just hear me out, see where I'm going with this.
All right.
Legend of Zelda, when they talk about the new Zelda, they talk about how they're looking at the conventions for Zelda, and they want to make changes to them. They want to, like, take... Like, every game is basically based off of Ocarina of Time, since Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, pretty much.
They want to
They want to standard.
Yeah, just kind of start from scratch, like, completely investigate or look into what all the conventions that make that game, and just kind of rebuild from there. That's what I want them to do with Resident Evil. I want them to, like, completely scratch everything out.
From 4 or
what? I want them to completely evaluate all of them.
No, I see what you're
erase
saying.
all Resident Evil games.
I misunderstood.
And then, so as an example, like we were talking about the thing where like you could play as a zombie, where somebody could. So
you're saying like try something completely different?
Yes, but it needs to, like, when you play the new Zelda, it will feel like Zelda. You will know it's a Zelda game. But with Resident Evil, I want them. So as an example, like in the older Resident Evils, if you go into a room, you could like shut the door and the zombies can't come after you. I want the ability to where maybe they're not opening doors and shit, but they have a way like where something can, or like think about like Nemesis, how he'll chase you through.
Yeah,
something like that. Like let's say you have a person playing as one of those. Give them the ability to like know where is safe, know where even a room that has a fucking typewriter and ink ribbon in it. That room is not safe. Like, I'm not saying that that's what they have to do, but those are the type of conventions I want them to look at, like, alternate.
Specifically, I don't. And I'll tell you, that's exactly, well, the one thing here, I'll just say this.
Please.
That, what you're saying to me, okay, here's what happens. You run into a monster, right? It starts coming after you. You have to run, you have to hide, you have to either kill it. It kind of sounds like Amnesia. Or those sorts of games. When it's more of just hiding rather than it is exploring, which, that's a dangerous line to walk.
It is. I completely agree with that.
And that's the one thing I really fucking don't want Resident Evil to do. But it could be done maybe correct.
And I'm not necessarily saying that that's the particular route to go. I'm just saying that's the type of thing I want them looking at. I want them looking at changing a lot of the standard conventions about what makes the Resident Evil.
Well, I gotta tell you, that would be great. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. But we're dreamers, baby.
Yeah.
We're dreamers.
All right, so let's see. Let's hit the rest of the comments. And besides that, we can go and move on. Yeah. Let's see. I like the idea of a zombie co-op game. Give me that stressful, terrifying single player, says 8-Bit Abs.
Yeah.
And Idlefice is Left 4 Dead style. I mean, maybe not as... I can see taking some elements, which would be pretty great. But then it would also be more like Resident Evil Survivor. Not Survivor, but, what was it? The cooperative Resident Evil one that came out. I forget what it's called. Operation, that wasn't Operation Outbreak. Yeah. It'd be more kind of like that, it would seem.
Man, Outbreak is so good.
Let's see. J. Dig Dug says, what if you took an established IP, like Zelda, made a zombie version of the game? What would you like to see? Fuck.
Undead Nightmare for Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, pretty much that's the perfect one.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would have to...
I mean, similar to Red Dead Redemption, I think Grand Theft Auto. Like, imagine taking Los Santos.
That would be fun because you could be able to drive straight through, like, the way that game's set up. That would be fun. But apart from that, I really don't... I'd have to think on that one. I don't have anything popping out of my brain at this moment. All right, well, let's move on here. Yep. Let's see. We got What am I missing?
Okay, so
what really quickly.
Yeah, what the general idea of this topic is there are games that people talk about and speak so positively of that each of us have never played. So what I want to know is, what are those games for you guys? And obviously I'll talk about some of mine, DKP will talk about some of his, but what are the games that you want to play but just haven't done so yet? What are those franchises? What are those series that you like, oh man, I want to play this game so bad, I just have never played it. I've always wanted to get around to it. So there's a couple of mine in here. There's a couple, like one I wanted to throw in because I know it's common. People haven't really played it as much as, like, it's not as big of a franchise as a lot of people, but like Phoenix Wright for me, I've never played a Phoenix Wright game, and I've always wanted to. They look really fun. Half-Life 2, never played Half-Life 2. Obviously, there's some Jak and Daxter artwork in here. I've played all of those, but I know a lot of people haven't played Jak and Daxter, and I'm assuming some people out there would want to. There's Tenchu in there. I didn't know if some people had or hadn't played Tenchu. And then, of course, there's Star Ocean. That's kind of a jab at DKP, because one of our friends bought DKP a Star Ocean game to play, and DKP's never played. So yeah, for me, Half-Life 2, or any Half-Life game, never played a Half-Life game. I've always wanted to. Phoenix Wright. There's a game, I can't think of what it's called. It's like a DS, 3DS, and Vita game. The first one's called like 999, and then the second one's called Virtue's Last Reward, I think. But they're similar to like Ace Attorney. They're similar to like Danganronpa games.
Is it Professor Layton?
It's not Professor Layton, no. But that's a game series I've always wanted to play. To hit a couple of comments while you think about yours. Seaman on Dreamcast. Gears of War from Onken. God of War from LaMuffin Mans. Never had the consoles to do. Pixels the movie game, says Tekkaslade. Uncharted, says Idify.
You fucking would.
The entire Uncharted series. Yeah, all you guys that have not played Uncharted.
Oh, hey guys, there's Tekkaslade with this one-trick pony joke about
TKP wants the Melissa McCarthy simulator. Dude, we, like, right before we started, we were talking about Tekkaslade. Good friend Festus, he was here last week? Or the week before? Last week. Tekkaslade is the guy who was here last week. It's Festus. We were talking about, like, how he's a one-trick pony with the Melissa McCarthy jokes, and then boom, he throws one out there.
Yeah, man.
I have a Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. So, yeah, I put a little Star Ocean character in there as kind of a jab to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me.
Let's see, Tasty.
Yep.
So butthurt that I've not played that, but I haven't, and I get them. I understand why. It's like it's like for you, I really want you to play Final Fantasy VII or Shenmue. Because, like, I want you to experience that,
Undertale,
and then we can talk about it.
Half-Life. There's a million.
It's the same thing with him, but it's like, I have not yet had time to sit down for a 40-hour PS1 era JRPG yet.
Is there anything that you want to play that you haven't played?
Yeah.
You're like, I would love to play this series, I just never have.
Persona.
Okay.
That is one that it seems like they do well by the fans, right? They release it, people love them, but there's so many of them, and I haven't played fucking any of them. So it's like, to jump in now, I just don't think... That's the reason why I haven't.
Yeah, but it's like Final Fantasy. Like, you can kind of... There's like a character or two that kind of weaves in throughout the series, but like, you can pick up 4 and be fine. You can pick up 3 and be fine.
Okay.
You can play 5 and be fine. It's not like Uncharted, where I'm like, you have to play all of them. Like, these games...
So it's not a chronological story necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. I thought they kind of all tied in.
Nope. You should definitely play Persona 4 Gold. That game is amazing. Actually, just skip it. Just play 5 when 5 comes out.
Let's see. More series that I wish I could have gotten into. Fucking up here. Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. Yep. Never played any of those. Those are supposed to be great. Spyro.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be fantastic.
Spyro's pretty solid.
And also, let's see. There was one more I was thinking of, but I'll get
While
to
you're
it here
thinking,
in a second.
I'll check out some comments. Idify says FIFA. Yeah, man. People love their FIFA. Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Tekkaslade says, in all
honesty,
Silent Hill.
That's not the point of this to go, you didn't play Chrono Trigger? Oh, man. That's exactly the point.
Yeah, that's the point is, we look at ourselves and be like, I can't believe we haven't played this. Tekkaslade says Silent Hill. I think that's a really good one. Ratchet and Clank says...
Fire Emblem is another
same
one
for me for Silent Hill, says Idify. Play Persona 4, then Persona 3. Love the bejesus out of both. Ready for
Fire Emblem's supposed to be huge. Like, apparently it is, but like... Yeah. I don't know. It just feels now like I can't go back and do it because it's
definitely can.
It's too big. I mean,
it is big.
Technically, I can, right? But it's too big of like an undertaking. I don't think at any point like, all right, I'm gonna absorb this series because it's always great when you have a series that you're really like emotionally invested in because of the story or whatever, and they keep actually releasing iterations of it that are doing good by the fans.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fantastic, you know. Now, 90% of mine. Well, they've all just kind of been fucking murdered.
Yeah.
But so that's why like I look at these other ones that haven't, like Fire Emblem or Persona and all that. And that's like when I'm like, really wish I could have. I wish that I was excited about these right now. You know what I mean? Let's see.
Abidab says he's never played Mass Effect. Oof, it's an amazing series. Dig Dug says Fire Emblem was one for me as well. Xenoblade says Batman. Bitch, didn't you stream Ratchet and Clank on Tuesday?
Yeah, I'd never played them, though.
That was your first time to ever play.
Yeah, so it's like, so the excitement of having a remake wasn't there for me. It's just like, oh, I've heard this is good, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I really wish I'd have been more invested in that a long time ago.
For sure. Abidab says, playing Fire Emblem while watching you guys.
Ah.
Knights of the Old Republic and Republic Commando.
Oh,
yeah, those
plus
are two.
Jade Empire
I've never played.
well,
I've never played Knights of the Old Republic. I've heard really good things about them.
I mean, I don't know about playing it now, especially if you don't have the nostalgia factor to keep you going. Because some of the mechanics are kind of dated, right?
For sure.
But, no, it was great. Assassin's Creed, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot get into those games.
There's a few that you
anytime I've kind of tried.
Play.
But it's like, they're coming out frequently. There's a bunch of them. And people that do love them really fucking love them.
Well, the one that comes out next year might be a good starting point, because if the rumors are true, it's going to take place in Egypt, which is the earliest time period that an Assassin's Creed
game that actually sounds decently interesting. And the one that I wanted to play most, but I heard it was like the shittiest, was Assassin's Creed 3. In like colonial America. I thought that would have been fucking killer, but apparently that was one of the worst ones.
If I had a list of like top 5 most disappointing video games of all time, that would absolutely be on that list. Absolutely. I was so hyped for it. Like, I love American history. I love the American Revolution. I like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is my favorite one, so it was a couple of years after that one. So I was still at the point where I was like, every Assassin's Creed game is solid. And that one was a slog of a game. Yeah. Very boring missions. It took you like fucking 7 hours of gameplay before you got the main character in the suit.
Techaslade says that Kanye Creed trailer was meh.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. You ever played a Pokemon game, says Nugget? I played a little bit of one, but
I mean, the thing is with Pokemon games, like, you can pick up any single one of them and pretty much experience the same joy that people felt even playing Red and Blue. Like, the thing is, I've said about Pokemon a lot, is that they don't innovate much, but that doesn't take away from the fact that each iteration of it is still really good, still really well done. Like, and that kind of, it's kind of weird to say, because it's like, well, things not innovating is kind of a lot of times a bad thing, but occasionally it's kind of like, if something's not broke, don't fucking fix it. Yeah, you know, it's the same thing with like Resident Evil. Like, hey, 4 was okay. That's the best max you could go. This is working. It's a good kind of blend of survival, horror, and action. Don't fix it. And it's like, well, then we had 5, which was a fun game in its own right, especially played cooperative, but like, it lost everything that was, you know. But in Pokemon, I guess, is kind of knowing when to step forward and when to kind of hold exactly what makes it, you know, good to begin with, and know when to walk away, of course. Yeah. Let's see. Jake says BioShock.
I like that one. Maybe I'm the odd man out, referencing AC3. Black Flag and Syndicate were great. Hell yeah, bro. The Mewtwo Life Sun. BioShock is so good, Dig Dug.
Yeah, and they're also doing remasters of that soon, so that'll be a good point.
BioShock 1, amazing. 2 is pretty good, and then Infinite's
Let's see, I'm looking here on my wall to see if there's anything else that I can think of. Because I own a shitload of games that I've never played.
I do want to ask you guys,
on playing, but
DKP and I have talked about this in the past, and sorry, I'm bringing this up to you right now. I want to ask you guys, DKP and I are talking about doing a video series, a YouTube series, where we talk each other into playing a game. So, as an example, he would talk me into playing Final Fantasy VII. I would play Final Fantasy VII throughout the week. And then at the end of the week, he and I would get together and record a conversation about it. And
I guess very brief,
do what?
Very brief conversation. Yeah. Nothing too lengthy.
But yeah, and it wouldn't be something on Prep Ape. It would be its own YouTube show. It'd be a completely separate entity. We wouldn't stream it. It would just be its own separate thing. But like, you ask me questions. How am I liking this? What do I think about this? What are my favorite parts of this? Like, and then we just do that with each other. Like, I get you to play something like, I don't know, fucking Skylanders or something. And you get me to play Final Fantasy VII. And we just talk about it. We have conversations about it. So my question is would you guys watch that? Or would we just be spinning our wheels and wasting our time?
Well, let me go and answer for it if I know. But everyone else might be a little bit different here. So, yeah, apart from that, I can't really think of anything.
Demon Soul says Techaslade.
Do you guys have anything else before we move on to the next topic?
Idefy says he's planning on picking up those BioShock remasters. I'll put it on the list. Definitely put it on the list.
I hope those come to PC
Talk
as well.
DKP into Warhawk. Warhawk for show.
Yeah, I've seen you guys play that. It doesn't.
I know, dude. I felt the same way. It doesn't look that great.
No,
it doesn't look like it'd be fun. But it is hands down the greatest multiplayer game ever made.
All right.
Which is nuts to say, but it's true. Dig Duck says yes. 8-Bit Ab says I'd watch the bejesus out of that. I'll put it on my watch later list. Says Idify. I want to see DKP play Journey. Fuck yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be out of the question to stream what we're playing at that point, and then still have the topic later. Because that'll be a separate thing on YouTube. So yeah. All right. Well, apart from that, we'll go and move on to the next topic we got here.
Before we do, I'll hit that last Onken comment. Would I love to see you force DKP to play Infinity and other physical DLC games? LOL, yes.
Oh, I'm fucking sure.
Ha ha! Oh, you are for sure gonna play a Toys to Life game.
If we're doing that, it's not supposed to be spiteful. You know,
no, I'm not saying it's
otherwise I'd be like, play and beat C-Man.
No, it's all about playing. It's all about playing games that the other person enjoys.
I want you to play Superman 64.
Yeah,
you know,
and I don't want you to play a bunch of shit you're gonna hate.
No, I know.
It's about sharing our passions with each other in the throes.
Well, then,
of romance
then we'll start maybe planning that out here soon.
Yep.
Get the format for that. All right. Well, fucking thanks for your feedback on that.
Yeah,
much appreciated. Well, let's move on.
Let's move it on.
So, yes, you've been playing the shit out of this game.
Since I finished Uncharted, I started playing Severed. I cannot stop playing this fucking game. It is so good. Probably 6 hours-ish. I feel like I'm really close to the end. But if you have a PlayStation Vita, please buy this game. It's $14.99. It's a game that you should not like. I should not like this. It's a first-person dungeon crawler, which...
You're getting way too excited.
Dude, I'm so excited right now. First-person dungeon crawler, and it's a swipey, touchy game. So no one should like this kind of game, but it is so good. I don't like dungeon crawlers. I don't like swipey games.
That's kind of how I felt about like Rocket League. It's not that no one should like it, but it's like when you describe Rocket League to me, it's like, okay, well, it's like soccer, but you play like with cars. Like, neither one of I don't like racing games. I don't like soccer, but somehow the combination of those two, just the way the game is, it's incredibly fun.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't sound fun to be described, at least to me, but like, it's tremendous. So maybe that's kind of what you mean. You're like, it's a game nobody should like. It doesn't sound fun, swiping and all that, but in reality,
first-person dungeon crawler, like whatever. I know that's kind of an old series or a genre that people got into.
Is it on mobile as well?
This is a good mobile game. It is not on mobile. Okay. It is only on PlayStation Vita.
But you could also
been out for
say
like 3 weeks.
Vita is mobile. You can take it with you. Yeah. So, sure.
I wouldn't buy a Vita for it, though. Yeah, I wouldn't buy a Vita for it.
Well, don't buy it for it. But if you
have a Vita,
sure.
Please buy this game. Please buy it. Do us a favor. Do me a favor. Buy this game.
Let's see. Julie says she loves this game. Idify says, stowing for DKP to play Dance Dance Revolution.
Texas Slate says, Guacamelee Fruit Ninja. Basically.
But
it's really good. Like, there's... so if you saw when they were fighting different enemies, so you get to a point where you have to fight multiple enemies at one time,
right?
And you like press a button to switch camera angles to each of the enemies, and they have different attacks that are timed. So a little timer will count down, boop, 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 and then when it gets full, they'll attack. So you have to make sure you get to that enemy and like parry
block their attack. Okay,
parry and block their attack. It has like charges, so you can like charge up and then swipe.
So it can get pretty hectic because
it is so insane. I was playing it this morning, and my like muscles in my back were hurting. It was from like swiping like. But it's so much fun.
They port this to Android, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's a great game for to play on your tablet or your phone or something like that. Or Wii U. Yeah, even on your Wii U would be a good.
All right.
Good game to play.
So basically, you put in this slide just to plug the shit out of this game.
Yep.
All right. Well, you know what?
That's the only reason it's here is so that I could plug it. Seriously.
No, I mean, there's
so
nothing
good.
wrong with that, I guess.
It is so good.
Or Wii U, yeah. That would make sense if it came to Wii U. Anything with touchscreen capability, of course.
If you have a Vita, drop the $15. You won't be disappointed.
By the way, if you have a PC, drop the $15 for Stardew Valley. If you're waiting, wait till you're trying to kill a bunch of time until a game comes out.
Yeah. Then I thought about asking you if you wanted to do a Stardew Valley slide, but
nah,
we were running out of time. So
yep. All right, moving on to what we got next here. And that is, by the way, what is it called again? Severed?
Severed.
Right? Yes.
Severed.
All right.
Here we are, baby.
All right, here is, of course, our Win Stuff Money. Now, after this, we are going to do the special 500 follower giveaway for this. Let me grab it real quick. Make sure we got... need to see the preview to make sure we're seeing it right. Yeah, this, which... the
green screen's kind of fucking up the green portions of it.
Actually looks pretty cool that way, too.
Yeah.
But, yes, this was made by a good friend of ours, a good friend of the channel, good friend in real life. Carrie, who I think is L'Oreal here in the chat, was nice enough to not only put that all together, but to frame it, the whole thing for $500
it's heavy.
For us.
It's hefty.
Yes, it is a very solid piece,
yep.
And we'll be giving that away after this, which, between here and then, we will have to determine the rules for that exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do for that yet.
Yes, but we'll try out a couple things,
yep.
And it will be, once again, up to our discretion. Alright, so let me, this is, of course, our weekly Win Stuff Money, for the $25 Amazon gift card. Now, the rules for this, as they are every week, but we must go over them for anyone new that's watching here. So, Tommy has a book in his hands here called 1001 Games You Must Play Before You Die. Now, to elaborate on that just a little bit, take that with a small grain of salt. Of course, as the example I use every week, Furlong Racing is in this book. A shitty horse racing simulator. So not all of them are games you should play before you die, but the way that this game works is we've picked out one, and he will read a synopsis of it. That's basically what the book is. It goes over, it picks a title, and just, some guy wrote up a good synopsis on why you should play it and what's special about it. Now, Tommy will read it and will omit certain key, super obvious identifiers. So if it was Metal Gear Solid, and it was, of course, a Hideo Kojima game, he would say a blank game introducing whatever, yep. Right? Certain things will be omitted to make it not completely obvious. Now, the first person to get the correct answer and type it here in the chat, of course, wins the $25 Amazon gift card. You have to provide us your email through private message or something, and we'll get it to you that way. Now, to just explain a couple quick caveats of this, if, let's say, the game is, well, here we go, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and you just say simply Metal Gear Solid 1 or something like that, or just Metal Gear Solid, that does not count. It is title specific, not franchise specific. So if it's BioShock 2, you need to say BioShock 2. One last thing, if you misspell it, let's say, for example, it's Sons of Liberty and you say Sons of Library, well, it's up to our discretion. We know what you meant. So if you were the first person, but you said Sons of Library, we'll let it slide. It's all good.
We got a couple of fans of that WrestleMania font.
That's unfortunately ain't coming back. But yeah, alright, so with no further ado...
So, yeah, one thing I do want to note real quick before we jump into this, make sure you guys hang out after Win Stuff Money. We're obviously going to be giving away that cool Zelda thing, but we're going to talk about ChainsawApe for a while. We're going to talk about...
We got that, we have the
fact
Civil
that we got
War
the 500
discussion.
Followers is a big deal, so... Yeah, and we'll also have a spoiler discussion on Civil War, but we'll let you know definitely in advance before we get into those if you haven't had the pleasure of watching. Yeah. Idify says, LOL, motherfucker.
Hey, well, I was using specifically his Sons of Library, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Alright, so, yeah, without further ado, you guys ready to go?
Let's do this.
Here we go. When Blank first arrived on the scene, much was made of its hybrid qualities. An unusual concoction for its time, the game combined RPG-style character development, first-person combat, and player choice. In the wake of Fallout 3, BioShock, and the like, it's hard to recollect the novelty of Blank, which speaks volumes as to how it has continued to define and overshadow gaming. You are Blank, a new nanotech-powered United Nations anti-terrorist recruit. When a pandemic sweeps the globe, its cure in the hands of a select few, your suspicions become aroused. Are your paymasters really safeguarding the interests of the public? Where has the plague come from, and who benefits from distributing its cure? Blank takes a kleptomaniac approach to conspiracy fiction, assembling a greatest hits of millennial paranoia. There it is.
All right. So, this one actually goes to Zarilla. It was just the original Deus Ex. Mr. Badman, terribly sorry. You were damn close.
Close, but no cigar.
But, yeah, that's the way it goes.
That's it.
And, Zarilla, as we've said...
message us your information.
That's the first time Zarilla's won, actually. So, Congratulations.
Message us your email address, and we'll get that gift card out to you.
Didn't Badman win last week?
He did.
Almost got a twofer.
I may not have... Badman, did I get you your gift card?
You fucking better have. If not, then
I
you're
may not
getting
have.
it tonight, 100%.
Well, might not be tonight.
Well, I'll
It will be
fucking
as
buy
soon
it.
as
You can pay
possible.
me back.
Okay.
We'll get it. Yeah.
It will be to you as soon as possible.
Badman, let us know if you.
Yeah,
if you got it
Badman,
or
let
not.
us know if we got it to you.
If not,
Because I
that's-
don't remember your email address. Because I think you said it's in it to us on Twitch, right? If so, apologies. We'll make it a $30 gift card for the debt.
Okay, no, yeah, yours will be there, and
I
with
didn't wanna say
a
anything,
small
but
bit of
no-
interest. No,
Cool. We'll get you some interest.
definitely say we don't.
Yeah, let us know.
This is not a ruse.
No, not at all. Please let us know.
Yes.
That's the second time I've forgotten that. I forgot 8-Bit Abs like a couple of weeks ago. I got to set like phone reminders or
We
something.
just got. Normally we do it right after
the stream. So
yeah.
So congratulations, Zarella.
Yeah, send
Zariah?
us your email either over Twitch or via Twitter. However you want to get
Facebook.
hold of us. There's a bunch of ways.
Whichever way. Just get us your email address. And make sure if for some reason we don't get it to you, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll get it to you.
All right. So
We're shitty people, but not that shitty.
let's very quickly discuss how we're going to give away this masterpiece we have here.
Here's what I was thinking. You remember a few months ago we did that video game 20 questions, which is something that IGN GameScoop does, where we think of a game and then everybody has questions that they want to ask to try to figure out what the game is.
Yes.
You want to do that?
Sure.
Well, something else we had talked about was people like naming off our favorite franchises, because it gives the people who are been dedicated to the channel and know us well an opportunity. But I don't know if that's a good one, because there are people here that know me. in real
let's
life.
do the 20 questions one.
Okay.
Now, for half a second, we're going to mute the mic, and I'm going to play back the Fantastic Price is Right theme, and we're going to quickly pick a game. Or,
This is the game that I'm thinking.
all right, let's do that one.
Okay.
It'll be fine. All right, so you want to explain the rules for
Yep.
this?
If you guys are not familiar with Video Game 20 Questions, IGN does it on their GameScoop podcast. It's basically you guys ask us yes or no questions, only yes or no questions, to try to decipher what the game is. Now, granted, you can have 20 questions, and if you don't get it in 20 questions, then you lose. But we'll just keep going until somebody gets it.
Yeah.
So it may take a couple of minutes, but basically you just ask yes or no questions, and the person who gets the name of the game correct will win this really cool little Zelda thing.
Now, what I'm doing right now is installing a counter app on my phone.
Gotcha.
Which
You see how many
Will
questions it
take
is?
2 seconds.
So, yeah,
click
if
go.
you want to kick it off, let's go ahead and go. Ask yes or no questions,
all
chat.
right, it's got to be yes or no.
Yep.
But I've got the counter already installed.
And we have the
open.
game pulled up, ready to go. So we
All
should
right.
be able to answer any questions.
So
that
unload
you
the
have.
questions, of course. This is what you will be winning. Now, I will be mailing this out. If not tomorrow, then on Monday.
Is it an RPG?
To you.
It is not an RPG.
No.
While we're doing that, if you want to go to our next slide, did this game come out before the year 2000? 8-Bit Abs has absolutely... Woo! 8-Bit Abs has absolutely watched IGN GameScoop, because that's like the go-to question, is did it come out before or after January 1st, 2000? Did this come out before the year 2000? The answer is yes, it did come out before the year 2000. Has Major Tom beat it? Yes, Major Tom has finished this game.
All right. So that's 4.
Do you have 5 up there?
I accidentally pressed it again.
Scoop! Man, I love that game, Scoop.
All right. What else you guys got?
Obviously, it takes a while. I gotta see what other people ask and how we answer. There's gonna be some delay there.
Is it console exclusive? Yes.
Yes, it is exclusive.
So that's
to
5.
consoles, relatively speaking.
Wait, why are we even counting for not?
I don't know. Because
Fucking
you wanted an excuse to use the counter. Was it a Nintendo exclusive?
Yes.
Yes, it is a Nintendo exclusive. Is this a Nintendo game? Yes. Is it Uncharted 4? No.
Is
Does
a
it
Zelda
have
game?
Trans
No.
Amiibo coming out? No.
No.
Legend of Zelda?
Nope.
No.
It'll be way too obvious seeing the prize. Here,
So-
of course.
Just, I am not, moving forward, we're not going to answer the question, is it this game? It has to be yes or no questions that are tied
Well,
to figuring out what the game
it's
is.
not Legend of Zelda. So.
But if people ask, like,
is it an
this,
SNES game? Yes.
Is this Super Mario Brothers?
Okay, sure.
Is this,
we'll just
they're just
ignore
going to
those
keep
games.
listing out games
Right,
until
right,
they
right.
get it right, and it's going to take for fucking ever. Was it a Mario game? No.
Is the name of the title named after a male character? Yes.
Yes. Does this character?
Is there a remake of it on current gen?
Does this character have a brother? Hold on, let me answer that. Does this character have a brother? I don't believe so. Or if they do,
it is a platformer.
It is a platformer. Tekka Slate says Donkey Kong Country 2. Nope.
Good guess, but no.
Yep.
Alright, 8-bit abs. Donkey Kong Country. Oh, he spelled it with a K. It's actually spelled with a C.
Nope, he got it.
Okay, no, it's fine.
8-bit abs, got it.
Donkey Kong Country.
All right. Donkey Kong Country.
So yes, we will have this to you in the mail on... If I don't get to it tomorrow, it'll be Monday.
Yep. So
yeah.
8-bit abs, PM me your address, and we'll send it on your way. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's take a couple minutes and talk about getting to 500 followers. Let's take a couple minutes. So, do you want to start with the history of ChainsawApe?
Yeah, I guess so. So, let's see. This was back in, I think, 2013. I got into game collecting really big time. You guys can't see it here. We'll do a Prep Ape topic about our collections at some point. But I have about like almost 600 NES games. I have like it requires its own room that now we've kind of turned into a studio and all that. But started watching Angry Video Game Nerds videos, right? And if you guys don't know that, of course, Angry Video Game Nerd is James Rolfe. He does kind of retro game reviews. In a sort of a over-the-top, pissed-off nerd type character. Really funny, really great. And I kind of, it made me want to kind of start doing the same thing, but not the same thing.
Yeah. Your version of it.
Yeah, I didn't want to do like an angry something.
If you watch any Angry Video Game Nerd videos and you watch your games you should have played, you can absolutely see the inspiration.
Yeah, but what I wanted to do instead was not like an angry review or any of that shit. But I got the idea because there was a game that was a Super Adventure Island 2 that I used to rent from the video store all the fucking time, right? That no one, and I mean nobody that I knew had ever played it. And it was fucking awesome. It was like side-scroller Zelda-esque, right? But, like, just something, different, right?
Yeah.
It was like a sleeper hit. Well, not a hit, though. So... I got the idea that I was like, all right, well, I want to make, this kind of video series or something, but instead of, having the angry shtick of whatever, well, I'll have it games you should have played.
Yeah.
So the first one, obviously, was Super Adventure Island 2. How ChainsawApe came about was a big fan of this band called the Meteors. They're actually the first psychobilly band ever. They coined the term, and they started calling their music that. Right, and on one of their album covers, a piece of art for it. I'll have to kind of show it here. I got it tattooed, but where is it? Somewhere around here. Where the fuck is it? Is it even on this arm? No, it's this one. So it's the ape with a chainsaw, right? That was kind of one of their album art things, and I got that tattooed a long time ago just because I thought it looked cool, and I wanted kind of a Meteors tattoo. And when I was trying to think of a name for the channel, I was like, fuck it, ChainsawApe, kind of like that. I'm big into horror, and that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like probably my favorite horror franchise outside of Nightmare on Elm Street, I guess. But yeah, so that's kind of how ChainsawApe came about. And the original kind of YouTube banner was just I took the black and white picture of Leatherface running down the road or whatever, in black and white, copied like just a fucking face of an ape and put it on there all shitty.
Yeah. And
so that's kind of how that started. And I went on to make let's see, 3 or 4 games you should have played, maybe 5. I made a Modern Japes for the Modern Man video, which was is okay. Made a Dark Souls video, which got like 27,000 views, and had like articles and a bunch of gaming websites about it. It was basically like a Rocky Balboa Dark Souls thing, and kind of did all that. And then that's when you actually approached me.
So yeah, I'll tell this side of the story. So I, obviously being a big fan of video games and things like that, I started listening to video game podcasts about 3 or 4 years ago. Like, after podcasts were already kind of a big thing. And I I found that when I was listening to them, I would start talking to the people. they would be like, yeah, man, Donkey Kong Country sucks. And I'd be like, what?
Oh.
Donkey Kong Country is amazing. Like, I would say this while I'm, like, listening to a podcast. So, IGN, I was a big fan of, like, Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty, what they were doing, which I'm wearing a PS I Love You shirt right now. And, yeah, I loved podcasts, and I was like, well, shit, I need to figure out if I can do this. So, I didn't really know much about the tech side of it, or how to get all the equipment together, or what to do, or how to do any of it. I just knew I loved video games, and I loved talking about video games with my friends. Festus and I, whenever we worked together, we would just spend hours and hours talking about video games, and games we would love to see, and what we thought of X, Y, and Z. So, it was something I absolutely wanted to do. So, I was trying to figure out, obviously I can't have a conversation by myself, and DKP and I, we were friends, but I would say it was closer to acquaintances. Like, we knew each other. We'd hung out at events a few times together. Like, I may have been to your house a couple of times.
I mean, we were work partners on the same two-person team forever.
So, I would say we were friends, but it wasn't like, we didn't hang out outside of work very frequently.
No, not much.
We were just more like co-worker friends. But I had watched some of your videos, so I was like, okay, this guy knows how to use video equipment, and he knows about video games, and he collects video games, so he and I have a lot in common. So I'm going to ask him to see if he wants to do it. So I asked him if he was interested in doing a podcast, and he said yes. So when I asked you, I remember the exact.
It was great.
I remember the exact day because we were riding together, and we were in Round Rock. And I don't know if we had gone to a GameStop or Half Price Books or something like that.
No, there was that. We went to the flea market or the outlet. There was that new retro game shop that opened.
Yeah.
That was like horrendously overpriced.
Yep.
Yeah. It was
so, and you and I were driving, and I asked you if you wanted to do it, and you said, hey, why don't we just do this under Chainsaw Ape, and we can be 50-50 partners. And we'll just partner up and we'll do a podcast together. So, we came up with a name for the podcast. It was called Super Smash Bros.
Yep.
The Super Smash Bros. Podcast.
Because we used to have this inside joke that was like, we called our like little group of friends, like me, you, our buddy Rob, who we worked with. We don't need to name everyone. Doesn't matter. But we called it, we were the Dude Bros.
Which was the Dude Bros.
Yeah, it was a funny
ironic
thing because, it's not like us at all.
Sup, bruh.
Douchebags like that sort of thing. Yeah.
So, yeah, we had a podcast called the Super Smash Bros. And we never, released it publicly. We just were like, we don't know if we can talk. We don't know how we can.
The idea was that we were going to do it and go through as many trial runs as we needed to before, we were good enough at it. Because the general idea,
we're not really good at it yet.
Well, the general idea is that I had was like, if you're going to have something like that, people are only going to give it one glance, but in one listen. Like, it may be only 10 seconds before they're like, no, fuck these guys, or no, this sounds shitty. No, this is bad. And they'll never come back. You could have improved it 1,000% in a month, but people see it posted again, or they see it somewhere, they already listened to it, they already know it, they think it's shitty. They're never going to give it a second look. Yeah. So unless you're bringing, what you think, needs, what the quality should be, don't do it, for that sort of thing. Now, with streaming, it's a bit different, because,
So after a while, we were doing the podcast thing. I think we did about 30 episodes. Yep. They're probably still hidden on YouTube somewhere. At least half of them are. There were 4 of us. Festus was actually in the group. It was when he was living in Austin.
Techaslade, yep.
Yeah, Techaslade. He was in the group with us. So we did that for a while, and then Twitch was a thing, and it was becoming a bigger thing. And we were like, well, let's see.
We did an Octodad stream.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah. So we were like, let's see if we can do this. From a PlayStation 4... We just, with the camera, we did a Octodad stream. And we had a lot of fun. It was playing video games, and it was talking to each other and making jokes and bantering back and forth. And then...
specifically, we did Octodad in a fun way, of which we had this fucking cash register, and we carried it with us through the whole last half of the game.
Yeah.
To where it was glitching through walls, and I don't know. It was really fun.
And we did it
just
multiplayer too, which is a single player game.
Yeah.
So there was one person holding one side of the controller and another person holding the other side.
Yeah, so it was just a big cluster.
But yeah, we did that for a while, and then DKP's cousin,
old Zod.
Yep. He's a super intelligent, knows a lot about computers and a lot about this stuff. He did some research and found a way to make our Twitch streams better. Built a streaming PC, got a good camera, got audio equipment. bought a green screen, and through that, we both kind of learned how to do all of this nonsense, all this chaos. So we did that for a while. It was the three of us. The three of us partnered up together.
It really sucked at first because we always used to do 5 days a week, pretty much.
So we would.
Or no, it used to be 6 days a week.
Yep.
It was the only day off when we wouldn't stream was Sunday.
Yep.
But it would be I had Monday, Tommy had Tuesday, Thursday, Zod had Wednesday, or I don't know, we had it set up, but
we did group streams, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it was probably too much. But the thing that really sucked was the way that we do our streams is you have to have kind of a separate computer to render everything. So it was a lot of equipment, and there was a lot of time spent having to drive over to Zod's to pick it up, disassemble everything, bring it back over to my place,
get the lights,
reassemble it. Yeah, the lights you'd have to on the poles, and it was just the worst.
It was awful
because you get off work what my schedule was. We would go live at 6, right? So I get off work at 4, and then I'd have an hour drive home, and then I'd have to go over to Zod's house, pick up everything, and then to get ready by 6. So basically, I'd wake up at 6 a.m. and then whether I'm working, driving, or setting up or streaming, I would go I would end at 9 and immediately go to bed. So throughout the week, it was zero free time. Yeah. But I mean, this is when you want to do something, you do
Absolutely.
it. But so happy we have one central location now.
So the three of us were together, and
goddamn it,
I don't know how much. We're not going to get into too many of the details.
No, the basic gist of it is Zod had way too much going on to be able to commit the amount of time kind of needed. So
I mean, we did have disagreements. We got to a point where we were having weekly meetings to discuss what's the tone that we want to have, and what's going too far with jokes, and what lines can we cross and not cross, and
whether you can say cunt or not. But you see, we decided
we can definitely say cunt.
You can say anything, almost.
No, not anything. There are lines. But yeah, we had a couple of disagreements here and there, but the amount of work that Zai was putting in with all of his life and stuff going on, because he did all the tech stuff for us, it was too much. So we dropped it back down to the two of us, and obviously VKP joined us, your wife.
Which was also really great because of the amount of time we were putting into it, basically was spending zero time with her.
Yeah,
and the unfortunate kind of reality of it is when you have a schedule like this, you know what I mean, where it's pretty much there's just 2 days out of the week where we don't stream, or 3, I guess, including Sunday. But a lot of people that I used to hang out with, we don't really hang out nearly as much, or not at all anymore, just because it's this is something I do during the week, and the only time they could hang out was during the week. So, but it's look, this is something I'm passionate about doing, and if you want to do something well, you have to dedicate time to it.
Yeah.
But the good thing is about VKP streaming with us is it used to be it was a problem for a little bit that we spent no time together.
Yeah.
But now she comes in here and we stream, and it's us spending time. That's kind of fixed that problem.
It's like a date night.
It's really cool too,
So yeah, we were doing the streaming thing for a while, and I really
how much longer you guys streaming? I don't know.
Probably 20 minutes.
Yeah. Probably.
So I really, really, really missed the podcast. I missed talking about video game news. I missed talking about what we were playing a lot. It just became about the stream, and really, really missed having a podcast, a talk show, an avenue for us to talk about news and give our opinions or just get hype on certain things. So we decided to do a gaming talk show.
So we started coming up with names for it.
Yeah.
So Tommy, sorry, go on.
We're like, okay, I had been watching a Tim Schafer documentary about making Broken Age, and there was a part where he was trying to come up with the name Broken Age, and he had a notebook that had probably 300 names for the game written down, and then by the 4th or 5th page, he wrote Broken Age really big on it. So right. I was like, okay, so you got to put a lot of thought into it. You have to put a lot of ideas. Just keep throwing stuff at the wall. So we came up with 100 different names for the talk show, and then from there we narrowed it down to about 20.
Yeah. So let's if I remember, some of them were Ape Direct. Some of them technical difficulties with ChainsawApe.
Yeah.
There was the
ChainsawApe show.
Yeah, ChainsawApe show. ChainsawApe tonight, ChainsawApe Revolutions, or Revelations.
Yep.
It's like kind of a big joke.
A bunch of different rando names.
And there was one that I threw out there, where I was like, how about we call it Preparation Ape?
And I was like, that's the dumbest,
dude,
worst idea I've ever heard.
I thought it was fucking I thought it was hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, look, I know you're probably not going to like it.
What is that, like, is it a pun? I don't really understand it. Preparation H, Preparation Ape, I don't really get it. But
ChainsawApe does Dallas. That probably was one. Like,
yes, I know it absolutely. I'm very, very confident that was.
We had a shitload.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And a couple of my coworkers in here may have actually been a part of this, but we narrowed it down to like 5-10 names, and I got a bunch of my coworkers to like give their feedback, like which names do you like, what do you guys think, which one would you vote for, which one of these sounds cool to you, and Preparation Ape was the one that everybody loved.
It happened eventually. We were on stream once, and I kept putting it out there because we kept like saying, "Hey, we're gonna be doing this here soon. We don't know what it's called yet," and I kept being like, all right, but what if it was called Preparation Ape?
And everybody's like, oh, I love it. That's
and that happens so many times, and you were finally like, fine, we can fucking call it Preparation Ape.
Preparation Ape is what it is.
And I was like, really?
And now there's no better name for it. Like,
dude,
that's what the show is. That's what we are. That's what we do.
It couldn't be any better.
Help, in fact, vote. Yes. So yeah, Preparation Ape was born. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's gone. If you go back and watch the first episode to this one, we've evolved quite a bit, and we will continue to evolve as things improve or things change. Major Tom reaction was worth it. So, anything else that you want to talk about Chainsaw Ape before I talk about the heart of Chainsaw Ape?
Well, I don't know what that is exactly, but I just want to say, like, look, this is very fucking hard work, and I want to thank everyone that watches, that comes in here, whether you shoot the shit, whether you don't. Like I said, it's. Dude,
if you're watching right now and you've watched multiple times,
it's very time consuming. It's a lot of hard work, but like for everyone that comes in here and shoots the shit and all that, like that's the exact reason why we're still doing this, though. You know, it's not the numbers. Like, look, we have 500 followers, but there's 12 people here, and it's 12 people that I know. You know, maybe not all you guys in real life, or maybe I haven't met you yet, but it's like I know exactly like your personalities, etc. Like it's and like I said, just want to say thanks. I know that some of you guys have been here for fucking forever. Some of you guys are rather new. Whether you're new or not, thanks for fucking just like I said. It makes it all kind of worth all the effort, and it's what really makes it fun, makes it great. So just want to say thank you.
And when I was talking about the heart of the show, that's you guys are what I was talking about. So we would.
Didn't mean to blow up your spot.
No, not at all. No, that's basically what I was getting into. So it was a perfect segue. When we started doing this, we were doing this for us. But after a little bit, it stopped becoming about us, and it started becoming about you guys. It started becoming about the community. It started becoming about us as a aggregate, us as a group. And Chainsaw Ape is no longer just me, you, and BKP. Like, it's all of us. You guys are a big part of who we are and what we do.
I've said this a lot of times. Like, I couldn't imagine coming on here and being like, all right, guys, Idify, fucking Unkin, Little Barbecue, Texas Boy. Hey, I know we shot a lot of shit or whatever, but like, I'm not gonna be coming back anymore. Like, probably more than likely, we'll never talk to you guys again. Like, I'll just go, disappear into whatever. I couldn't imagine doing that. Like, it's. Yeah. I don't think I'd have the balls to do that.
It's to the point now to where, you're talking about it's a lot of hard work, but it doesn't feel like work. It feels like something that it's just part of what we do now.
Well, yeah, it's like there were times back when it was almost like more of a chore.
Oh, it was a massive chore. Because it wasn't even fun. We would get on here and be like, I can't believe we have to turn on our personalities and be excited.
There would be times when like we'd do like 6-7 hour streams for like 0 people.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, this really fucking blows. But all it takes is like really one person coming in and just talking with you to make it like the experience from shitty to like excellent. All it takes is really excellent. Yeah. No, I mean the experience for like for as the streamer, yes. Like one person is all it really takes to like bring it from wow this fucking blows to like wow this is fucking great. Like I don't know this person, but we're shooting the shit, having a good time about this video game or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely like. Again, like I want to say thank you. You guys have been really awesome. You've supported this. You really like. You have anywhere you can be in life right now. You could be doing anything, and you're right here.
Like I said, some nights we do pretty well. Some nights we fucking are pretty mediocre. Hey man.
Yep.
We try.
Thank you guys again.
I was almost always there. You always had at least one person. Yes, but it was in those in between times where I say it was a chore. You know, when you don't have fucking anybody. So anyone also that is because I know that there's a couple people. I don't think anyone here right now that kind of just started streaming or are wanting to. Really, like, just stick with it. Like, be consistent, stick with it. It's the only thing. It's not like we're in any fucking place to give advice to streamers.
And it's not like we're rich. It's not like we're doing this for a living. It's not like we're successful.
We make
negative followers is a big
so much money doing this. Negative so much money.
Yes.
So, it's just like you just have to fucking just keep trying because like you posted a friend earlier that started doing like Uncharted stream, and I went and looked at his channel. Just curious who he was because I didn't know that didn't know him, and I saw like he only had 3 followers, and I was like, man, like I remember that shit. Like
3 followers.
It's very likely he streams for like nobody yet.
Doesn't even use a camera.
You just have to keep fucking going. You know, it's
like
it's
I remember
great.
those days.
It's well worth every single bit of effort put into it, big time.
Let's hit a couple of comments, and then there's one more thing.
See, identifies the real MVP. Exactly. No one understands the real struggle. Or J Dig Dug does. Let's see. I just started streaming. Mr. Badman, let us know when you're streaming. We'll host you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I'm available, I'll also come and fucking watch you as well.
Pop the champagne, lads.
I started watching To Catch Up with Major Tom, but you guys as a duo have become a highlight of my week. Thanks for letting me hang out with you guys each week.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. I actually have been listening to Future Boys podcast
Mr. Dr. Butts.
for quite a while. Although I do have to say, 8-Bit, I haven't talked to you about this. Now that you guys are two episodes a week, it is so hard for me to like stay caught up. I'm like 3 episodes behind right now with the Future Boys podcast because they started doing 2 a week, and like it's ingrained. Like I drive and listen to podcasts, but I'm only in the car like maybe 8 hours a week. But I have so many shows I listen to that staying caught up on Future Boys, it's much tougher. So I'm a few behind, but I'm gonna keep listening. So
specifically, Badman, if you're not in our Facebook group, you can get to us there, or on Twitter. It should go directly to my phone as a direct message. And when you're streaming, let me know. We'll host you.
Yep,
we like to help out. We're still the fucking little guys as well.
Of course,
and everyone needs to help each other. Of course.
So I come for DKP. Major Tom is okay. How about them apples? Thoughts on the Assassin's Creed movie trailers starring Magneto?
We talked about that earlier, actually.
Yep.
So when this gets put up, check out the archive or check it on YouTube.
You can watch the archive right now.
Very briefly to go over that, a bit underwhelmed. Like, it just looks too much like the game. Not enough, like, what is there different exactly from other movies that have people in robes killing?
My opinion, you can catch on the YouTube version or the archive.
Yeah, we went over it pretty much in depth. Not excited, but I'm not a fan of the series either. So there's that.
So yeah, thank you guys, and DKP. I wanted to thank you. Like, you
shucks,
went from being an acquaintance / friend sometimes
to the godfather of your child, unbeknownst to you.
Basically,
it happened today.
We see I see you as much as I see you more outside of work than I do any of my other friends. We spend a lot of time together. You've been awesome. You're an amazing friend.
I
consider you a brother, and I love you.
Well, I think you're pretty okay too. Now give me them ribs. Give me them ribs, you. All right. Well, Major Tom, I love you too, man. I'm not so good with words, but
So yeah, that's it. We're done
now.
With all that stuff,
we move on. Oh, they got their fucking 500 follower rib getting. All right, now we move on to, of course, the Civil War spoiler cast.
If you guys have not watched Civil War,
last kind of
this is it. After this, we're ending it.
Well, I mean, we do have one other kind of quick thing, but yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Hold on, and I'm also changing the title here to Civil War spoilers.
Yep. to... Dude, I'd be so mad if I was going around Twitch and like, what are these guys doing? And I go in and
now it'll say Civil War spoilers when I watch
Spider-Man does blood.
All right.
So, yeah, 30 seconds we'll be hitting the Civil War spoilers. That gives you enough time to get the fuck out of here. So...
It gives me enough time to quickly go piss. Because I've been drinking a little.
So, we both watched Civil War. I watched it last Thursday night, and I watched it a second time. If that gives you any impressions on my opinion, yesterday with my wife. So, yeah. Overall impressions, I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, but if not, it's definitely in my top 3. Probably my second favorite. My wife watched it yesterday, and she said that it's her favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Granted, she's not a big comic book fan or movies like this. She doesn't like this kind of stuff. But she thought this one was good. So, yeah. Love Civil War. I think I enjoyed it more because of how bad Batman vs. Superman was. That's actually something that's really important to note, is it made Batman vs. Superman look like a fucking turd. More so than it already was. Like, you take Batman vs. Superman, and I had so many complaints about, like, there's too many characters, and there was too much going on, and they overstuffed the movie. And Civil War, like, triples the amount of characters that it has. It just shows how important or how talented the writers and directors of this movie were, that they could fit so much into it and it not feel like a turd like Batman vs. Superman. Well, I think I enjoyed it. Yep. So, do you want to start with me or do you want to start with you on this?
You go first.
Alright. Obviously, it's amazing. A few of the standouts for me, of course, are the comedic moments of, like, Spider-Man, like the, spoilers, here they come. The Empire Strikes Back joke was really good.
Wait. Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's like, have you guys seen that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back?
Shit, that even made me fucking feel old. Like...
That really old movie, Empire Strikes
Back.
Back.
I'm only 26, but, like, that made me like, damn, is that a thing now? Like, we're calling that really old movie?
Yeah.
Like, shit.
I love the part where Ant-Man was in Iron Man suit, and he's like, what's that voice? And he's like, it's your subconscious. We don't talk much. Like, that part was really good. Of course, Ant-Man becoming Giant Man. I thought that was handled really well.
Thank you for the host, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate it. Something I do want to talk about is, like, the first time I watched it, I had a couple issues with, like, the pacing of the first half of the movie. But watching it the second time, I enjoyed the first half of the movie significantly more. And found that my problems with the pacing were probably just because I was so anxious to get to, the airport scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was confused about, like, Zemo, the villain of the movie.
Well, speaking of, Dr. Butt says Zemo is the worst villain. See, I fucking agree 100%.
I think Zemo is one of the best villains, and it's because he had a legitimately good, like, way of going about things. It's like, when he talked about, like, you can't, he said, all the best companies or all the best empires, he said all the best empires, when somebody takes them out, they end up rising up. He said, but to really make them end, you have to take them out from the inside. So, Zemo, there was a lot of stuff that a lot of people have talked about, like, not understanding how he put it all together. But he was some sort of soldier. They showed, like, there was one part where they were showing a bunch of different videos or, like, slides or pictures of him. So he was some sort of soldier for Sokovia. He lost his family in, the destruction of Sokovia. He was like, okay, I have to now bring them down, so how do I do it? Well, there's one part that if you missed it, then you're like, how did he figure all this out? Where they said that Black Widow, after bringing Hydra out of S.H.I.E.L.D., released all of the Hydra files to the public. Like, that was said in the movie. So he was able to go through the files. He was able to figure out which was something that was discussed in Winter Soldier, was that Iron Man or Tony Stark's parents were not, their car accident was not an accident. Like, they said that in Winter Soldier. So those files were made public. Zemo got a hold of them and figured it out. So he's like, okay, I have to figure out what to do. He figured out that there was more than one Winter Soldier through all these documents. because he said I had to go through some coding encryptions or whatever. But he figured out that there was more than one Winter Soldier. He just had to piece together that it was, in fact, one of the Winter Soldiers or one of these people that killed Tony Stark's parents.
All right.
So he was able to piece it all together and bring them down from the inside. And I thought that was super awesome. Way more, like, he had way more complexity or, like, interesting things about him than, like, Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy or, like, Ultron I thought was a pretty decent villain, but, the bad guy from Iron Man 1, what was his name? Like, his partner?
Jebediah.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
But yeah, like, he had good motivations for what he was doing, he pulled it off well, and how he was able to pull it off I thought was really interesting. Like, the part where he's hanging that guy upside down and he drowns. Yeah.
Alright. Well, okay, then I'll give my... Well, let's hit the comments first, then I'll give, I guess, my opinion on it. Let's see, Spidey was done really well.
Yep. Got me excited for the new Spider-Man movie.
I'm on the fence, but I don't think it was done bad. Let's see. Seeing Paul Rudd with the Avengers proper was a delight. Yes. That Iron Man scene with his parents had me like,
so
weepy
sad.
weep face. Okay.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was great in the movie. Black Panther was done really well.
I agree.
I agree in both of those. I love Zemo because of what he wasn't. I don't like Zemo at all. But
I won't lie. I didn't see the 1991 outcome coming. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah. His plan was not just to drop a giant rock on Earth. Yeah. He was not a supercomputer, but still came with a better plan. Yep. And Dr. Butt says, I was hoping they would kill Cap like they did in the comic, but at the same time, I'm glad they didn't.
So one of the things they actually talked about, I watched a video on IGN that they had with the writers, and they were asking them, like, why didn't they have a big death to bring all the Avengers back together? And they said they didn't want the Avengers to come back together. They wanted to end this movie with the Avengers broken. So that way, Infinity War, like when Thanos arrives and has his gauntlet and all his stones,
and I guess
that is what brings everybody.
Listen, like, one thing that was cool about Civil War was like, it's like that story of when two people are fighting over something so petty, but they feel so passionate about, and then like it's only when they stop to see like kind of all the destruction they brought with them, or was caused to it, that they realized like just how irrational that they were being about it. And then that sort of like self-realization of like, holy fuck, like, can't believe we did this. Like, that was absent to some degree.
Maybe it was absent to some degree, but
not nearly like it was kind of in
they
the
did
comics.
realize
and
it was the huge moment when Vision was trying to shoot Falcon out of the air, or he was trying to disable his something. To where he had to glide down.
Yeah, but like, dude...
he took out War Machine, and then War Machine was fucking paralyzed.
If your big catch of the movie is killing or hurting one character specifically, why Don Cheadle? Like, he's not... He hasn't been in any movie since Iron Man 3. Like, he's not a big part of it.
He was in Age of Ultron.
Was he?
Remember the scenes where, like, they're at the party, and he's like, and then I dropped the tank off the front, and he's like, that's where he kills with everybody.
But basically, a very, like, side character. Like, Falcon was, like, started out as a side character, but, like, it's already, like, pretty ingrained as, like, a central character.
He's had as many action scenes as War Machine has. War Machine's actually probably had more.
Alright, fair enough. Well, okay, here's what I thought about the movie. It didn't suck. In fact, it was a good movie. I didn't like it, though. And I'll tell you why. It's pretty simple. I was one of the few people who didn't think that Winter Soldier was, like, the best fucking movie.
I love Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I'm just not fucking super interested in the Winter Soldier's character and his story arc. None of it really is, like, that fucking awesome to me. Like, it just doesn't... I don't know, something about it doesn't click with me. Now, I thought I was going to go see Civil War, and I guess this was my mistake. Instead, I really ended up seeing Winter Soldier Part 2. And that really fucking... Like, 'cause none of that's in... Look, I know they're not going to follow the Civil War comic to a T, and I didn't expect them to. That's fine.
Sounds like you did expect them to.
No, I just didn't expect to see fucking it changing the entirety of it to be about the Winter Soldier, basically.
They didn't, though.
Yeah, they kind of did. I mean, it depends on matter of opinion, but I think the movie is more about the Winter Soldier than it was about the Civil War kind of aspect to it.
I would agree that he was the what's it called, where you have a plot device that drives the story forward. What's that called? It has a particular name.
I mean,
I can't.
But okay.
Anyway, he was that to the movie. Like, the plot drove forward because of him. Like, he was integral to this. But I think that's why it's a Captain America movie and not an
I wish
Avengers
it would have
movie.
been Avengers Civil War rather than, because then you could have had it without so much Winter Soldier, because like there's so much like there was a lot of stuff that happened in the comic, right? Just a lot of stuff because it had to fill an entire like graphic novel size story arc. But instead of all that stuff, it was like, oh, we're just seeing Winter Soldier stuff. And the thing is, like, watching Iron Man fight, it's fun and interesting because like he's using all of his suit's abilities, like all sorts of like cool shit's going on there. Now, watching Captain America fight is cool too, especially when he uses the shield and all that. But it's like that, along with Winter Soldier, like in tandem, we saw that in the Winter Soldier. So the fight scene where, like, when you first get introduced to Black Panther, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I literally was sitting there like, we've seen all this before. Like, not Black Panther, but like all their abilities that they're using and all this. Like, this is not new. This is not interesting. And I feel like maybe I'm just getting burnt out on kind of what they're doing. You know, I'm not sure, but a lot of it seemed very formulaic, and I was not happy about that. And like I said, my biggest complaint, once again, is like, as someone who didn't really think the Winter Soldier was that cool, the movie and the character, like, I went in to see Civil War, and it was just pretty much fucking about the Winter Soldier. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, like, this isn't bad. Like I said, it's not a shitty movie. It's not, but in my opinion, for what I was wanting from Civil War.
That's the problem, is you had things that you wanted.
But I don't think that's necessarily my fault, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's not, no, because well, it's like if I said, all right,
hey,
we're going to remake The Shining, but it's actually about fucking, I don't know, some dude retiring in Florida. It's about Dick Halloran instead. It's like, well, that's, I mean, sure, but...
Because you have expectations of what you want Shining to be.
Well, I thought it was going to be about the central focus, which was Jack Torrance, but instead it's more about Dick Halloran retiring in Florida. Like, it's just like...
But it's a Captain America movie.
Well,
and that's what's... And that's that's one of the things that I actually love about the entire...
Maybe I say it's not my fault, because maybe it's just a confusing thing. It's like, yeah, it's Captain America, Civil War. So it's like, all right, so more of the camera focus for like whose side, it'll be more behind Captain America's point of view. I didn't think it was going to bring in characters from his arc, like the Winter Soldier, and like shove those in.
See, that's one of the things I love about the Captain America trilogy as a whole, is that you watch the first Captain America, 1940s, basically Indiana Jones style flick, and then you get Captain America 2, which is like an espionage 70s spy film.
Captain America. I thought the second one was okay. Like, it was on the better side. It was on the better side of okay, but like,
so you get to Winter Soldier, and then it's the big reveal that it's Bucky Barnes, his friend, and it's like, oh, there's a lot of threads, and then like, it's not just you have S.H.I.E.L.D., but you find out that Hydra has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D., so it's like Captain America, the first one, it is a direct sequel. Yes, it does have all these Marvel Cinematic Universe ties into it, but it absolutely is a Captain America sequel. And then I feel like Civil War did the same thing. It's like, there's all these events that are from other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that are making this, a cohesive story, but it's still a Captain America movie, and it still is telling that story. And as a huge Captain America fan, comic books and films alike, like, I was really, really, really glad that we got as much Winter Soldier as we got. That we got as much Bucky Barnes, and we got the funeral of Peggy Carter, and that we got Sharon Carter, and we got all of these things that make it a Captain America movie. It's really, really happy with that.
I guess that's where my big complaint was. It was, you take this wonderful graphic novel, which is Civil War, and it's like its own thing, and it's really neat and interesting. But then, like, you make it something completely different. Not completely different, but you make it into more about something else. And that's where I didn't like it.
Yeah, but then you should have a problem with every single fucking one of these movies. Because Iron Man isn't a, like, shot-for-shot tale of a particular Iron Man comic.
Dude, okay,
Guardians of the Galaxy isn't exactly like the comic.
Okay, thing is, Civil War was its own, like, standalone arc, right?
So was the Winter Soldier.
Right. But
I didn't hear you complaining about those things. The problem is you have a love for the Civil War comic, which so many people do, which is fine. But then you had expectations created based on what your love of Civil War as a comic book was.
No, I thought it would at least follow similar to the same plot to a degree. Now, they changed the way that the plot... To a degree... Okay, yeah. I'm not going to fucking argue with the other.
No, you said, I thought that it would to a degree. And it did to a degree.
Okay, let me rephrase that. To a larger degree than it did. There you go.
That's a better phrasing of it.
Thank you.
He's getting real mad.
No, we need to hit some comments real quick, though. Alright, so Unkin says, I saw something that raised a good point. Iron Man 1, Tony gets shot by a freaking tank, falls out of the sky hard, and the most basic of Iron Man suits, that is absolutely fine if the War Machine dies from those falling. Was the same distance, though. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, like, he's got to have safeguards built into his suit for just falling. So I don't see how, like, that crippled Rhodey, or whatever his name is. Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Let's see, Dr. Butts says, War Machine got hit by Vision's Infinity Gem, one of the most powerful items in the Marvel Universe. But I don't think that's what did the damage to him. I think it was the fall.
He passed out.
Yeah.
He didn't, like, brace himself for the fall.
Well, that actually helps you, though. Like, it's like people that are in drunk driving accidents, right? Yeah. Like, the people that get hit because they tense up, that fucks up their body more than the person who's, like, inebriated hitting them, because it's more of a loose thing. Like, so that actually helps you, like, break less bones.
And you also, like, the impact that he had to the ground, he like put a hole in the ground compared to when Tony Stark.
I see Dr. Butt's point, but I mean it's a comic book movie. What are you gonna do? Yeah. Jay Digduck says War Machine was hit from a blast from Vision. That's pretty intense compared to a tank. Badman says I own every Civil War issue and every tie-in. So many comics. Dr. Butts says directed at Badman. You think they did Civil War comic justice? Let's see, he did not answer. Let's see. Well, bro, his only power is to punch things with one arm. Old Winter Soldier. Reread Civil War trade, and it was more that than the main Civil War trade. I'm not sure what she means by it. And everyone's saying R.I.P. Agent Carter. Yep.
There's a Captain America.
Well, okay,
version
so finally, like Batman did answer. Did they do it justice? Batman says not. But yeah, I guess maybe that's just. It's a personal thing. Like I said, I'm not saying the movie's bad, but out of what I want, it's the way that I feel about it, and this is kind of the last thing I have to say about it, really, is the same way I feel about the Wanted movie. Right? I love the comic book, and they made it because it was one of the most unique, awesome, interesting concepts ever, and they made a movie out of it, and the movie, in my opinion, sucked because, like, whether or not you liked it or not, one thing is for sure, it did not follow the what made the comics interesting at all. It changed it completely. And what happens when something like that happens is like, all right, well, I know they're never going to remake Wanted again. Like, if they look back and they go, okay, well, Wanted didn't sell well, they're not going to think, like, movie executives or whatever, right? Whoever's funding it, they're not going to think like, oh, it's because, you know, we didn't follow the comic enough. They're just going to say, well, yeah, that's just an IP that's not going to do well. Yeah. Same thing with this. Like, we're not going to get another Civil War movie that follows it more closely and makes what the comic was special, like, in this. We're not going to have that again. So to me, it's like, okay, well, that was it. Like, this was the one chance we're going to get with it. So, fucking bummer that it wasn't, to me, what made it special to begin with. Not saying it's bad, but, like, that's what I don't like about it. I think that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, anything else?
I disagree with you.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
It's a feat. It's an absolute feat that Disney and Marvel can continue to make this massive film franchise that just continues on. We get multiple movies a year, multiple people involved, literally thousands of people involved in the production, and they can pull this shit off.
Yeah.
All the motivations were very clear to me, which is super impressive. I understood why characters did what they did, why people ended up on which sides they ended up.
I do feel like they made Tony Stark a little too, like, steadfast in his point, like, in how he acted, but that could be debated, though, depending. But that's how I felt.
I think that there was one scene, or two scenes, that actually helped all this make sense to me, which is the scene where the lady is in front of the elevator, and she's like, hands him the picture of her son that was killed in Sokovia. And then the second scene involving that kid, where he's sitting there talking to everybody, and he was like, this is this guy, and he graduated from college, he graduated, and before he went on to get his master's, he wanted to work on his life. And he's like, when I take time off, he's like, I'd go to Amsterdam or Mexico or whatever. And he's like, this guy went to Sokovia to build houses. And
who doesn't understand, like, oh yeah, there was this cataclysmic force. We barely even saved the fucking Earth.
But
collateral damage. It happens.
But that's why his motivation, collateral damage does happen. But that mentality is why these Sokovia Accords were important and why he was so steadfast. It's because he had that mentality until he recognized that it was real. Until he recognized that there was serious damage and there was personal loss. It wasn't just like one of his friends getting hurt
but at what
getting
point
paralyzed.
Is it like,
someone's life ended.
Look, I understand you feel. Why wouldn't they be pissed? Why are people pissed more at the Avengers than they are the fucking invading force? Then it's like people do understand, like,
because Iron Man created Ultron.
All right, when you put it that way, I guess. Okay,
but so basically, what you're saying is your Team Cap. Like, there will be casualties. These things will happen.
Well, yeah, because if you're looking at it from like real life, like, look, when there's a cataclysmic force, you have to stop it.
Can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
Well, no. Well, what could you? What are your alternatives?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Make an omelet without breaking eggs, bitch! I dare you.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
But let's see, really quick. We got a couple more comments.
We need to end this motherfucker.
We do.
Like,
let's see. Dr. Butts says, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Winter Soldier eventually take over as the new Captain America? I don't know, actually.
Yeah, he does. Winter Soldier and Falcon both do.
Ankin says, if it followed the plot 100%, there would be no point in watching it. I don't fucking know about that, because
that's my concern with Assassin's Creed.
There's no point with reading the comic. Like, both are good, then both could be good. But I'm not saying that they need to be one and the same, but I'm saying, like, they strayed too far from the source material. That's my big complaint. So I've been kind of trying to, I guess, iterate, but maybe that's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah.
I did love the movie. Like I said, it wasn't bad. Butts says, the only negative was Civil War. The cast was so small compared to the comic. No Fantastic Four.
I love Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, there was no...
It's a shame this movie sucks so bad.
And Pev says, sweet, you're still on? Not for much longer, but just about. J. Digdug says, new superheroes in the cinematic universe from Marvel so far have really touched on the secret identity issue. Now, that was the big thing in the comics. Yeah. It was the superhero registration.
It was registration. Yeah.
And
this was about
Peter Parker was like the big poster boy because
that most iconic scene in the Civil War.
They modernized the legal legislation that divides the members and justified why each person chose the side they're on. Thought that was done rather well. I mean, for how they went with it, sure.
Basically, they said the Avengers are a problem. We, as the what's it called? The World Organization. What's it called?
The UN.
UN, yes.
The United
UN
Nations,
are like we want to be in control of the Avengers. Not we want to have every superhero register. We want to control the Avengers. Like, we want to make sure that the Avengers don't do anything unless the UN says they do.
Fuck you.
That's what the Sokovia.
Bev says, you don't blame the firefighter that flooded your house. No, good point. You do blame the firefighter that starts the fire.
It's true, too.
Sure. But well, I was going to say intent's a big thing, but whatever. That's really not. And finally, Unkin says, I am totally Team Iron Man, but I am on Cap's side about how people have agendas. And what the fuck, there is an issue they need to get involved with, but the US says no, maybe more people die sounds bad.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's no really great side to be on. It's just definitely a gray area. But the only side to be on, in my opinion, is when the world needs saving, you fucking save it. Team Cap. Team Bear. Alright.
Team Bear.
So finally, before we end this up, and we're going to get to the Ask the Ape section, which, very brief, if anything. There's one thing I'd like to go over. And not to get super serious on our nice... fun, 500 follower episode. But,
we're getting super
very briefly. My mom is a school teacher who teaches normally mentally disturbed kids. Kind of helps
disturbed?
Out. Mentally, yeah, like people who have like emotionally, they've either been abused or they have like you can develop, I guess, certain like mental illnesses by like getting abused or whatever.
For sure.
And today, they actually had a student in her classroom try to hang themselves, try to kill themselves, while they were like out of the room. And luckily, they were able to find her and stop it. But it's just a really weird thing that kind of happens, and it's a very real thing that happens. So, look, I know we're just some random assholes here on the internet, right? But. Like, just hearing that today, like, and I just want to fucking put out there. I know a lot of you guys come here and talk. I know a lot of you guys might just lurk. And there's been some people who, in our time, in our year going on year and a half streaming, who have kind of come in and come by, who, mentioned being very depressed and all that, and some of them I haven't seen since. And it's just kind of sometimes it makes you kind of wonder, right? Like, if they're okay, and there's no way that I'll know, right? I don't know who they really are. But look, if you ever need to talk to us, you know, of course, the people that we mentioned here above, call them first. Like, there's no shame in it. In fact, I've called the suicide prevention hotline once, a long time ago, when I was feeling that way. It was a wonderful woman I spoke with. She talked to me for 5 hours on the phone, and honestly, I felt great afterwards. It helps to have kind of an outside perspective. There's no fucking shame in calling. It's 100% anonymous. And like I said, I know we're just some random assholes here on the internet to a lot of you people, but if you ever just want to, if you figure, DKP or Major Tom, I want to talk to them specifically because I'm feeling bad. Anytime, anywhere, hit us up on one of these. Like I said, we are invested in you guys just as much as some of you guys are invested in us, as far as making sure you guys are here to watch. And that's it. Like, I don't want to go on too much more about it, but yeah. Just a really weird, fucked up story thing that happened today. And I thought that
it's a real thing, We've all more than likely been impacted or affected by someone who has committed suicide, and it's sad and it's scary. And a lot of people have different feelings or emotions on suicide, and just know that, like, whatever your feelings are, you have places to go. Whether it's talking to us, talking to your friends or family, and obviously you can contact organizations like the Suicide Prevention guys. There's a million different places you can contact. Just know that, like, you're not alone. Depression's a real thing, and depression's a tough thing because you don't see it physically. It's not like physical.
You don't see it physically. It's hard to talk about a lot of times, and it's a lot of times you might not even kind of realize, that you might suffer from it until not it's too late, but it's sometimes just talking. Like, when you have a good conversation with somebody, to cite the example that I used with when I called and talked to the one some years ago, it really just helped tremendously. Mm-hmm. It's like sometimes that's all you need. Maybe it won't be a permanent solution, whatever, but like that, I needed that then. And I was glad that option was there for us. It's just a hard thing, but look. Like I said, if there's one thing we do here, it's of course to entertain you guys and beyond entertain, right?
We want to hang out. We want to. You guys are our friends, whether it's in real life or there's just someone on the internet. Like, you guys are our friends. So spend as much time with us as our real friends do.
Don't want to stay too long in this, but I just wanted to kind of get that out there.
Talk to somebody. Talk to us.
Yeah, literally.
You're not the only one that goes through this kind of stuff.
Any fucking time you guys need I'm always here to talk if you guys need it. Now, if you just want to shoot the shit just because you're bored and it's 3 a.m., maybe fuck off. But if you need to talk to somebody, 24 hours, however you can get hold of us, and that's kind of how. But yeah, that's it. Don't want to stay too long on that. But yeah, apart from that, that's all, folks. Now, if you have any last things you want to ask, we'll give about 30 seconds. Apart from that, we have gone on about 2.5 hours on this.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
No, this is a special one, our 500 follower celebration and all that. So yeah, a little bit different, but yeah, that's it though. So anything else right now? I don't think so. I don't see anything. Dr. Butts, I'll tell you what, you can try, and if I'm awake, of course I'll, but I can't guarantee nothing. Alright, guys, but, let's see, glad I caught the last of it. Have a great night.
You too,
yes,
Pepper.
and we are your assholes, and you're ours.
Thanks again, everybody. It's been an awesome ride so far, and I can't wait to do 1,000 follower celebration. Yes. Yeah.
Like I said, we've been going about 1.5 years, almost, I think.
We've closer been Twitch streaming
closer, yeah, closer. No. We're closer Twitch streaming to 1.5 years than we are a year. So like right in the middle, like 1 year and 3 months ago or so. Congrats again. Thank you very much. Anyways, guys, what was the last thing it said? ChainsawApe loves you, baby. I mean that. And thanks again, guys. Well, with no further ado, I'm DKP, and you already said it. So you guys have a good night. Take care, and I'll be on tomorrow streaming Doom. So make sure you come back for that. Alright. Have a good night, guys. Goodbye.
Tyrone!
Yes.
I
Take it
know
away.
what all of you are thinking. You're thinking, wow, these guys are great. I want to see them every chance I can get. If only I knew where to find them. Well, I have great news. You can follow them right here on Twitch. Legend has it that they are also on YouTube and Twitter, all at ChainsawApe. Check out the Twitch panels for links, the streaming schedule, and also don't forget to tune in every
Thursday night at 8:30
p.m. Central Standard Time for Preparation Ape, the live gaming talk show / podcast for your chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a real pizza, mates. All hail DKP! Zod is a beta, and Donkey Kong Country 3 is the best Donkey Kong country. I still have some time to kill here. I paid for it after all. This is the Chainsaw Ape Show. It's not the Ape Chainsaw Ape Show. This is my favorite show, and it's not my show. But seriously, folks, we've had a lot of laughs tonight. But let us not forget what is important here. It's never over. Chainsaw Ape is love. Chainsaw Ape is life. Well, until next time, my name is Major Tom. P.S. At I Defy 7. Go forge your mother. Man! PPS and Jamzo. Your accents suck.